Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Microphone check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test. Alright. So turn this down. Capture device muted. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Black Ponder. My name is Neil Trotter. I'm the host of the program, and this is okay. Gotta turn this down a little bit more on my end. Gotta turn down a little bit more on my end. Okay, yeah. So this is Black Ponder YouTube channel. This is a philosophy channel, and we talk about philosophical concepts and read philosophical texts. That's primarily what we do, but excuse me. But sometimes we'll do these live streams, and they're always a good time. They're always fun. Thanks for tuning in. These live streams are more loosey goosey, where we just hang out. It's not like a lecture. It's not like me talking at you, it's talking with you. It's more dialogue, and we're just chilling, we're relaxing. This one in particular is going to be a lot more laid back. I guess all my live streams are laid back, but this one is going to be really like chill, right? We're talking about New Year's resolutions, and I guess because it's December, even though it's like the first week of December. Well, I guess the first week is about to end. And but I guess it's time to start thinking about it if you do that kind of thing, if you plan for New Year's. Let's see. Oh, hello, Nadia. How are you? And I guess the question is, do you have New Year's resolutions? Do you do that? Do you, the viewer, anybody watching, do you when New Year's rolls around, do you like, all right, I got to set my resolutions? Because, so a lot of people do, some people don't, right? Some people are like, I don't really believe in that. That's really not effective. I don't do that kind of thing. Which, that's some people, that's their vibe. But some people are like, hey, I do that. That's a great reset. Now, a lot of people will set New Year's resolutions, and then they will not follow through. That happens a lot. I go to the gym. I haven't been going to the gym lately though, but I usually go to the gym, and it's funny how it's like it's always so predictable. You go in the gym on January, and it's like hella people in the gym, right? And then come not even like February, like mid-January. It's like there's like barely, it's like 80% of the people are just gone, right? So but most people, and that's just the gym, that's an example, but that's like a classic example. I would encourage you, like, go to the gym, workout gym in January, like the first week of January, you'll just see hella people, and then like come at the last week of January, you'll be like, damn, it's like where did I go? I always notice that it's kind of, but so some people don't stick with their New Year's resolutions, and so why is that? Let me read what I wrote in my description here. I said, are you planning to make New Year's resolutions? Have you done so in the past? Have you successfully achieved resolutions? Have you failed on meeting a resolution? Why make a resolution for the new year? And how do you go about doing it? Let's discuss. Let's discuss. And this is just more just like conversational. So I'll tell you how I do it. I do sort of kind of New Year's resolution, but not really. And if you want to share how you do it, that's fine. If not, whatever. I ain't tripping. First thing we gotta do is we're use a planner. That's how I do it. I do the planners. Honestly, it's my wife that got me hip to this. I think my mama actually used to use planners, and I noticed her doing it, but kind of never got to me, and never really, stayed with me until like I noticed my wife doing it, and then I was like, yeah, that looks very effective. I should start doing it. Okay, and then you got brother Marcus. What's up? Greetings. Hey, what's up? What's up, brother Marcus? And then Nadia says, I've been too busy to think about New Year's resolution, but will likely think about 2025 a bit more when I get a break over the holidays. Yeah. It's just, it's the beginning of December. Some people will start hassling you. They'll be like, yeah, the sooner you start thinking about it, the better. They'll start like trying to be all Mr. or Mrs. Responsibility. but you do you, and you do it in your own time. But I like to do it via a planner, right? And it's based off of this method right here. Let's see. Let's remove this so that we don't get confused. Can we zoom in? I don't know if that's a possibility. Franklin Planner. I think my mama actually used to use a Franklin Planner. I'm not sure. I'm not. I remember seeing those pages. But my wife uses a Franklin Planner. So, there's all types of planners in the world. I know what's really trendy right now is the Midori planner, which I think they changed the name to like Traveler's Notebook or whatever. And then there's all these other planners. There's like German planners. The Japanese have a lot of like planning companies, and then of course, a lot of foreign planners that people is a trendy thing now. But not a lot of people go to the Franklin Planner because that's kind of an American old school kind of planner. And I think it's literally based off of how Benjamin Franklin, one of the United States presidents, used to do his planning methods. But whatever, that's not the important. What's important is like I like the methodology, or like kind of the methodology of the Franklin Planner. And that's how I kind of do my New Year's resolutions. And we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll give you some, maybe give you an idea how to do yours, or maybe you're like, yeah, I'm not trying to do that. And brother says, more reading is one of my major goals for 2025. That's cool. That's cool. I don't, fortunately, like, reading is not like a thing that I need to improve. So that's pretty cool with me. I read a lot, so I'm pretty good. I was on the internet, I guess some news article or some report came out about how college kids aren't finishing books or something, and then everybody's in their mother is talking about how no people don't finish books anymore, and I'm like, why is that the case? I'm like, I don't know who these people are because I don't know those people. Like, the people I know actually finish books. Like I don't have a problem with that. Like, stay focused. Like, yeah, that's not really an issue with me and the people I know, but I don't know. Maybe that's the thing for college kids. I don't know. I know some people in college, they finish books. But yeah, definitely. That's a great goal to have. More reading. Reading is fundamental. And then Nadia says, for me, less screen time. Work is all on screen. School is mostly on screen, and more time just being in the present moment. Yeah, now I guess you got your school. I remember when I was going to school, which was a long time ago, college even, and we used this system called Blackboard, which was like, the new thing. It's like, online. This is how teachers give assignments is through like the Blackboard, like internet software. Yeah, I guess that's how nobody just. I guess nowadays teachers don't like give you like give you a textbook and say do problems 1 through 5, or they give you a book to read. It's like, okay, write an essay about the theme analysis of this book. is you got to actually log into an online software and then you do assignments through the software nowadays. Which, that's stupid. No more paper. Yeah, that's a good one. Less screen time. Anyway, yeah, so this is a great system. I think I use it for myself. Everything is digital. Okay, it's even worse than it was when I was going to school, because I remember it was kind of half that. They were like transitioning. I was going to school. I graduated high school. Now I'm getting old. I graduated high school in 2003, and then I was, I got got finished school with a graduate degree in 2008, and that was, so that was the time period, and there was just transitioning. You did do that digital system, but there were teachers that were still like, okay, just do these problems and just turn them in on paper. It's fine. You still had that. It's granted. I studied computer science, so it's like even then we still had paper assignments, which was funny. It's just like more walks. Oh, that's cool. If you can, I mean, one way to get more walks in is to get a dog. I walk like 3 times a day because I got one of those dogs that should be living on a ranch, or like they should be like, they're like a ranch dog or like an outside dog. I don't know. I mean, this dog has a lot of energy, so he's got to be out a lot. He's not one of those dogs that can't just stay in all the time. So I walk a lot. If you can, maybe you don't have the resources. You might live in an apartment complex where they don't allow pets and that kind, so that sucks. But or maybe you just don't have the resources to do that. But a great way to get on that walk game is to get a doggy. That's a great way to do it. I spend too much time on my smartphone. Yeah, don't we all? Don't we all? Nowadays is like, people are like, get a dumb phone. What the hell is that? It's a flip phone. Get a dumb phone. Get like the phones that we used to use in the early 2000s, like the Nokia and the Razr. I have a Razr. This is my this is smartphone though. You might be too young to remember the old school Razr. That was a flip phone. It was awesome. But nowadays. They still coming out with those razors. I saw it in the store like, what? But of course it's like, it's a full touch screen now. It's not like the old school razors where they had the number pad and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, staying off the smartphone is good. All landlords can evict you if you get a pet. Okay, that sucks. Um, yeah, I remember. Where I live, it's most places they just charge a fee to have pet. It's like a pet fee, and it's pretty damn expensive too. uh, yeah, but they like, nah, no pets allowed. Period. That sucks. I actually downloaded an app to dumb my phone down. One of those minimalism apps makes it very basic. Okay, that's the way to do it. You got Forest. that's what I remember. That was the big thing. Forest. I guess people still use that, right? Where make the turn it on and your phone makes a little forest, and if you know that app, like, and if you the longer you stay on off the phone, the more the forest grows. But then if you go on it, like, your forest dies or whatever. I downloaded that app, yeah. And then I realized, like, I really don't need it. I kind of like already do that. I'm pretty good with focusing already. But yeah, maybe it's because I'm from the old school. But I'm sure like lots of people my age still struggle. Yeah, I keep referencing I'll tell you, like, my birthday's gonna be like next week. It's on the 16th. I'll be turning 40 years old. Just to give you some context, I'm gonna be 40 years old in about a week. So that's where I'm coming from. I grew up where cell phones weren't even a thing. It's only when I was like old teenager, late teenager, young adult, that's when cell phones started coming out, and they were like the Nokias and shit. So I guess because I have that background, cell phones don't really distract me. But I know plenty of older people who they get distracted by phones. I actually don't. Oh, I said they cannot evict. Oh, you can't. Did I? Oh, they can't evict you. Oh, okay. That's great. Yeah, because in America, they sure in hell can. Yeah, but America sucks. Land of the free, home of the brave. Okay, yeah, that's what we say to ourselves. That's great. Yeah, Canada, y'all ahead of the curve, as usual. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about this. This is how I do it. So the Franklin method is, and I'm not like sponsored or anything like that. I'm not big enough for that. I just like the method. I'm not even using a Franklin planner. I'm just using the method. We'll go over that. What they do is step 1. Determine your governing values. These values support and direct all that you do. Ask yourself what truly matters most. So before you even set your goals, you got to say, like, well, what do you value? What do you value? Right? And then, okay, step 2 is like set goals based on your governing values. So instead of saying like, I want to like get a 6-pack, it's like, well, 6-pack abs. It's like, I want to do that. It's like, well, why? Why do you want a 6-pack? Like, what value do you associate with a 6-pack? So you would have to say like, well, core strength. Now you can have like core strength without having a 6-pack, right? Or like, what else? I just want to look good, And then that's something you hold back. So you start there. And then it's like, let's see if this is relevant. Plan weekly, envision your goals, break them into manageable pieces, and schedule them into your life. Okay, so it's saying like, okay, once you set the goal, like the resolution is like, all right, well now you got to actually plan it out, right? Because that's the other problem why people don't finish or achieve their resolutions, because they don't have a plan of action. So that's what they're saying. And then step 4 is plan daily. Set aside a few minutes each day. So this is where it comes to having a planner. A planner. Right? And you can have a paper planner. You can have you can use your phone. You can use like Notion or wherever the fuck, what those. But I guess if you use Notion, and you're trying to like limit your screen time, that's not good, right? But maybe it is. Or you're like, I'm only gonna uh, go on screen when I use my digital planner. I don't know. But that's just how I do it. I like using old school planner. And we'll come back to that page. And I just bought this. Okay, let's zoom out. There we go. And this is a cheap ass planner. It's called Blue Sky. I don't know. I just went to Walgreens and bought it. Okay, cool. Levels? Okay, good. Just looking. Yeah, so if you go to the Franklin Planner website and you buy one of those, it's like $50, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not. I think like one year I bought it, it was on sale or something. Maybe I bought it on like Cyber Monday or Black Friday or something, because I do not remember paying $50 for these planners. So I was like, okay, time to get a new planner, and it was like $50 or over. I'm like, oh hell no. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go to like the drugstore and buy a planner, because where I'm from, you can just go to like Walgreens or CVS or like Target, Walmart, or wherever. Or any station, Office Depot. I mean, these are the stationary shops where I live. Office store, or a supermarket, drugstore. They sell planners, and I went to a drugstore, Walgreens as we call it. And it's just $10. Blue Sky, never even heard of them before, but whatever. It looks basically, it's a weekly planner. Yeah, weekly and monthly planner. So it breaks down by weeks. I like that. I like the week. So I just bought this. So first of all, we're just gonna decorate this because we're just chilling. How much time we got? Okay. Get rid of this. Bye. See ya. 2025. Let's go. We'll talk about the year and what do we expect. I know this had a ruler. Oh, maybe I should have kept it. Does this have a folder? Damn, I should have kept. I like it that it had a ruler. Maybe I'll do a paper clip. That's pretty cool. Okay, but I do have stickers. Yeah, sticker bomb this bad boy. We're just hanging out. But I'll go to my New Year's resolutions, but I do it a little differently. I do it differently. I don't do it the same. I sticker bomb my shit. Okay, no, that's fine. And I really don't I don't care what. I'm not very picky with stickers. I just get a lot of. I don't know, man. I bought this thing, this zine from this local artist who's kind of like, I see this local artist a lot of places. So usually when I buy from this local artist, she includes like stickers, which is great. Oh, now it's like the eternal problem, right? Trying to like remove the damn, okay. That's the thing with a sticker. Yeah, Mary Beth is my friend. It's just an independent artist that I just buy art from. Local. Sure, I'll put that on there. I love stickers. Yeah, I really like stickers. Sticker bomb. Sonic the Hedgehog. Nuck if you buck. Okay. Stickers. This. And then you say, I have a hard time putting them on stuff though. other than my water bottle because I can never decide what is worthy. I put stickers on everything. I put them on my musical instruments. I put them on my guitars. I put them on. I don't give a shit. I put them on like notebooks. As a musical artist, local, I don't care. Okay, what the hell? I have hella bumper stickers that I put on my car. Play Asia, because you know I'm a gamer, and I actually know I studied Japanese language, so I could play like games that are in Japanese, which is awesome. I have no idea what the hell this is from. Electronic tubes. Did I buy some? It must be some musical equipment I bought somewhere. I forgot. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool though. Maybe. Let's see. My resolution is less screen time, eating more fruits and veggies, and exercise hard. Cool. You know, that's some very good standard. No prop. No You know, nothing wrong with that. Great. I hope you wish you the best with those goals. Eat more healthy, less screen time. You know, I hope to get back into morning yoga before school work. Cool. That yoga in. We're just hanging out. You know, I'm gonna start writing in the planner soon. But we're just having a good time. What's that? Memphis Queer Fest. Great festival. I was, yeah. That was cool. I didn't know I had enough stickers to cover the damn cover front page, but looks like I kind of do. Yeah, maybe I can show you the struggle. Oh, okay. Thank you. I like when they do that. They give you a little perforation there. The Wailing Banshees. That's a band here in Memphis, Tennessee. That's where the city I live in. Yeah, that's a cool band. They do folk punk. All right, getting more stickers. Okay, so what's going on? You say you were from, okay, yes indeed, when I used to live, okay, cool. Y'all just having your conversation. Cool. Yeah, conversation. Can this fit? Cool. All heart, grit grind. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. But I don't care. I'm not very picky with my stickers. One more. Strange Space. That's a novel series by a local novelist. Writes a science fiction series. Great story. Trash. Okay, we'll try and keep it. I'm just gonna get a paper clip because I like that ruler. Okay, cool. We sticker bombed it. Every other day to not overdo it. I miss Montreal. Oh yeah, y'all climbers. I My daughter climbs in those indoor climbing places. I've never done that before, but man, you build a lot of good back muscles doing that. Used to be a big climber. Oh man, too bad. Maybe that could be a New Year's resolution. Get back on, get those back muscles. people, people who climb got some really intense back muscles, I'll tell you. All right, so okay, we'll use. Okay, let's see here. Contacts. Yeah, I used to be a big climber. The gyms in Toronto aren't as good as Montreal, so it's hard to get back into. Oh, okay. I've been going outdoor bouldering and rope climbing, but now it's snowy here. But there is ice climbing. Shit. Y'all Canadians. I can't. I'm at California. Although in California, we got a lot of, there's a lot of mountains. I'm just, California's so huge. I'm the Bay Area kind. All right, address. Ready to dox myself? No. We're not doing that. Do that later. Okay, so it says yearly goals here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Franklin Planner's method here. I never went to a gym in Toronto, so I wouldn't know. Yeah. So, yeah, think about how if you want to go exercise, if that's one of your goals, how are you going to do it? All right, so in the Franklin Planner method, what you do is you first start off with values, but one way to talk about values is to think about roles. You got to think about a role you want to fulfill in your life. And then based off of the roles you want to fulfill, you can generate values. Right? So, I was just actually just talking about this. So, we're gonna loosey-goosey this. I'm gonna say number one. I'm gonna have to say family. Family member. What's a family man? I'll just say family man. That's number one. So what does that mean? So I have a wife and a kid and a doggy, and I also got an extended family, but I have dependents, meaning I have to take care, support family, emotionally, financially, that kind of thing. So like many people with families where you gotta put them first. So when this is a good example when we're talking about our goals and our values and our resolutions, we got to keep this in mind. So number one, family man. So what did that mean? That means be support fam financially and emotionally, right? Can you even see that? Oh. I think it just turned itself off. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I have no idea. That's GoPro, baby. I know it's old, but damn. Aren't GoPros supposed to be like, um, you know, they're supposed to be built like bricks, right? I did take this on an ultra marathon, so maybe like after like, you know, the fifth marathon, it was like, nah, man, it's time to check out. You need to buy a new one. But man, GoPro's like $800. So yeah, so meaning it's not gonna fit into my role as a family man. That's why, that's one of the reasons why it's not the only reason why I don't like buy high quality video equipment, because it's like, yeah, that's interfering with my ability to support my family. But also, I kind of do like, honestly, I do like the lo-fi look. Um, Only issue is like you get shit like that where the camera will. So what that means is 9 to 5 job, critical, which is cool. Fortunately, I got a nice job that is not related to like philosophy or anything, but critical, 9 to 5 job, critical, and just make time to hang with fam. Walking the doggy, talking, having talking to the daughter, hanging out with the wife, that kind of thing. Make sure that's good. So that's number one. So that's a role that I have, and those are my those values. Okay, so cool. That I was just saying if y'all were y'all talking to me, but no, it looks like y'all have a good old conversation, and that's cool. Okay, so next role is community activist. So these are the two big ones. Activist. Okay, these are the two big ones. Circle. That's big for me. That's big. Yeah, so I'm part of several activist groups, and I want to be involved in the local activism here in my community. That's very important because I live, this city, this Memphis is I consider it my home. I'm from California, but I've made a home here. I've built a little nest. I bought a house here, so I'm getting my roots in here. The problem is, Memphis is it has a lot of problems. Infrastructure is shitty, and that's just because the local government, doesn't give a damn about the citizens, right? Which is like a common area, problem in many parts of the world. And also, this is a red state. Tennessee is a red state. So we got a lot of conservative. Although Memphis is kind of a blue bubble, kind of sort of a blue bubble here. And when I say blue and red, I'm talking about like Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. And so there's a lot of work to be done here, and I want to actually do the work. I'm very passionate about that. I'm like, we need to push back. We need to push back, and we need to get a little bit more left up in this mug. I'm gonna bring my California values up in here, and and I want to keep it local, community, right? Community. My neighborhoods, my city, my municipality, right? What sparked your curiosity? I did ask some things to you amongst. Oh, okay. I guess I need to reread. I believe he was born. I don't know much about him. Do we know what's Parker? Blah 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 blah. I was actually bummed when I was Gus. Okay, Cafe Block. Every other day, not overdo it. This is art gallery. The gyms I've been. It's nice. The only spas. The screen when yes, okay. Was it at the screen? Because I think I fixed that. I don't need. I want. Do you have a big encampment community? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, we do have encampments. They're not like here. It's like it's not because I'm from the San Francisco Bay. San Francisco, they have like enormous encampments. So is my city, where I'm from, Oakland, California. Huge encampments, right? So it's not, they're not like unified like that here in Memphis, but there is a lot of encampments. There's a lot of people camping out on the streets. Now the thing about it is here in Memphis, it's illegal to do that. It probably is illegal. Well, I don't know. It's probably. I don't know. I have kind of lost touch with the San Francisco Bay Area and their laws. I'm trying to keep in touch, but things are moving. Like they just recall. In the San Francisco Bay Area, they recall and impeach local officials like all the time. That is not like that here in Memphis. In the South, like people, it's hard to recall or impeach local officials here. But yeah, in camping here in my city, it's illegal. You can't just pitch a tent and they'll shut you down. So the issue is like there are no encampments because the police will be like, you can't do that. They'll crack down immediately, as opposed in other places they might like allow that type of living to grow. Here it's like, nah. They nip this in the bud. But we do have a large homeless, houseless population here in Memphis. It's a big problem, but how many places in the world struggle with that? Many. Like, we're not unique in that. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I want to focus on, like dealing with this homeless, houseless issue. But I think like the homeless, houseless issue is intersectional. It relates to like all types of shit that's wrong with society. I mean, it's interconnected with all types of problems. It's interconnected with law enforcement problems, and it's interconnected with the women's health care access, which is horrible here in this. I could go on for days. It's not just abortion; it's all types of other problems with women healthcare access. Specifically women here. That healthcare in general is like horrible for men too, but for women is like really shitty, right? So that needs to be approved. But I would say that that's directly related to like the homeless housing issue, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's how I would answer that. Oh yeah, you were like, Food Not Bombs Toronto. And I spent the day winterizing the tents as it was below zero. Shit. I mean, it was cold here. It was not. It was not below. Oh, it was below freezing. Yeah, it got 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which I don't know what that is in Celsius. I know, like we're the dumbasses that uses the imperial system, and like most of the rest of the world doesn't. It's like really irritating. Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay. Google help. I'm gonna say 20 degrees. Oh, okay. So it's a minus 6 degrees. It was on last Thursday. It was minus 6 degrees Celsius. Yeah, it was cold as fuck. So what we do, we pass out. We get donated a lot of winter clothes, and we go out and pass it out to people, we get a lot of good winter clothes. So, you mentioned that. So, Food Not Bombs, Memphis, Food Not Bombs. You know, critical, very important. And I'm part of several other activist groups too. Uh, we didn't get snow. It rarely snows here, but it's starting to snow more often uh, because of climate change. Of course, like so one could argue like, wow, isn't climate change about global warming? Why would it snow more? Well, right, climate change is about like the extreme weather is increasing, right? As I'm sure y'all know, preach it to the choir, but people who don't, they use that as an argument. Extreme weather conditions are happening more frequent. So it used to be very rare for it to snow here in Memphis, but it's actually starting to snow more. Even though like it still does, it might snow like it used to be like 1 or 2 days of the year it would snow. Now it's like a whole week of snow, right? Which is still nothing to compare to lots of places, but it's very strange for us, and our infrastructure isn't built for that, right? So like it'll snow for a week here, and then the power will just go out, and if we don't have no power, then we don't have no heating, like no air, no heating services. So then people start like dying from hypothermia and shit. It gets real serious real fast, right? So yeah, these are things that are important to me. Let's see. My bad. Misunderstood. I believe it was on. You said you were. I think that wasn't. I wouldn't be able to. Oh, your question. My question for you now is, how do you deal with Southerners on a daily basis with your leftist views? Well, Southerners are real. They do have the Southern hospitality. Actually, it's funny because generally, like people from the South are very polite, and that was like my culture shock when I came from California to Memphis. I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, wow, people are really polite here. Because where I'm from, like people are assholes. Like California, like people are just jerks, right? It's just, and that's kind of like, I think, if you come, I don't know, maybe some people would debate you, but I generally think like somebody from LA or like, SoCal and North, like in San Francisco, people are real assholes. And I know because I grew up there, like, people are just jerks. And, so you have this opinion, me growing up, I'm like, oh, I guess everybody's just a dickwad. And then you come here, and it's funny because, but the politics are very progressive over there. So it's like you never can have your cake and eat it too. Like you never get, it's never like the best of both worlds. It's like one or the other. So you come here and people are polite, and then but then they'll say some fucked up politics, and I'm like, shit. So you can be real civil with somebody, just don't bring up politics. So that's how it is usually when I'm at my work, when I do my 9 to 5 job. I'm not bringing up politics because and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes there's a time and place. And I'm cool with that. I have, at my job, I have talked about Food Not Bombs, and they, at my workplace, these are like people who are like hardcore conservatives. They've given me winter clothes and stuff to donate to homeless people because I don't like push it. I just say, yeah, I'm part of this group that gives to homeless people and believes like food should be a right, not a privilege. And I think like you just kind of vaguely say, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. So it's not hard, but part of my activist work is like and the philosophy has helped out a lot. This philosophy channel, like I will like, so that's my other group. It's called Mid-South for Abolition. And that's when I do a lot of tabling, where I literally will set up a table at a public park or like a courtyard or a public space, and I'll have a sign that says like a better world without police, or like, abolish the police. I'll just have a big ass sign up, and I'll just sit there with like literature and stuff, and people will approach me like, "Wow, you're a nutcase, right?" But then I talk to them. But I do it in a non like, I'm not a troll about it. I'm not like aggressive. I'm just trying to have a conversation. And I think people will respect you if you're just coming at them like, oh, you just want to have a conversation. And I think it gets a lot of people thinking. And now like I've merged that with Food Not Bomb, so we'll have tables where we're feeding people and we're like having these conversations at the same time. And that's pretty cool. So is it? I don't know. It's kind of the same as I would. It would be just as difficult in California than it would be in the South to talk about like. Yeah, I don't think police should be a thing because California it's very pro cop or whatever other progressive idea. Uh, I guess the abortion thing is like something California embraces. where I'm from, it's illegal. It's not legal, right? So I mean that's the thing. Uh oh, my camera. I think that's just gonna happen from time to time. We back. I just gotta pay attention. Let's see. Where do unhoused people go in your city then? Because it's illegal here too, but there is literally nowhere else for people to live. Yeah, they just die. I mean that's the sad truth of it. Or they try to do something. It's not uncommon to hear like, yeah, a homeless person died of hypothermia, or like, or a homeless person. It's the same thing in summertime when it's like extremely hot. Like a lot of that happens, and it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. Yeah, this camera is. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, they don't really have nowhere to go. And it's really brutal here in Memphis because homeless shelters for men, you have to pay like $6, which is like absurd. Like, a homeless person has no money, but you have to actually pay to stay at a homeless shelter if you're a man, uh, which is like mind boggling. So where do they go? Like, it's rough. It's rough. They do what they can. But a lot of times there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go, right? So, sometimes, I mean, what, like, if it's below 0 degrees, it's freezing weather, they're probably, a lot of them are just walking around at night. They can't go to sleep or they'll freeze to death. So they're just walking at night. And then maybe eventually when it's daytime, they'll stand next to some heat generator in the back of a restaurant or something. I mean, this is the type of shit that goes on. It's horrible. It's horrible. Okay, this is not. I don't think this is gonna work. Uh, I don't know what's going on here. I gotta figure out a new method, or I can switch cameras. Yeah, it's not working. Let's see what I can do here. I guess it's overheating. No, ignore the thing behind the. What did the wizard from the Wizard of Oz say? Ignore the man behind the curtain. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do desktop. Move this up like that. Oh no. I want to display capture. Wait, this goes right there. So close, close. Sorry. What's that? Oh, I see. So that's what this is. Wait, what? Video display capture. That's that. That is that. Delete this. Remove. Yes. Okay. I want to. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. So. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, so delete. Uh, delete. Let me answer some more questions. All right. Oh, cool. We are close. Let's see. It's cool to see that black bar there. I'm gonna bring it back. Let me just interact with the chat. Let's see. Now it's clear. Is Memphis in worse shape than Los Angeles? I think both cities have unique problems, which all make them shitty. Like, I mean, I know Los Angeles, like it's insanely expensive to live there, right? And of course, like you can't go anywhere without a car. And I mean, those two things alone are like incredibly horrible, right? Right? So if you can't afford a car, you're fucked. And if you know, and also you got to be like you're making six figures to actually be successfully living there. Now I know like broke people live there, but they're living in poverty. So I mean, and of course, like here in Memphis, is I would probably say it's might be equal. I think ultimately, like the United States in general, just the whole country is fucked. And then I would even go further and say maybe when you look at other countries, like, are they any better? I don't know. I think, it's not really about. That's why I'm kind of more focused on community activism, where it's like at a certain point we have to start like trying to make where we're at now better and stop trying to like go to other places that you think are good and then you go there, you're like, oh shit, it's just as bad as because that's what's happening, right? That's what's happening. All right, let me see here. Display capture. Okay. No, not that one. I want. We already can see the chat. Primary monitor. Oh, great. That's it. That's what I want. But let me bring me back. Cool. Okay, we got the. Uh-oh. We got the. Am I violating my terms of service? Because I know, like, oh no, that's Twitch. Twitch, you can't show foot pictures, but I think YouTube, it's okay. I think it's okay. But what I want to do is I want to make a scratch pad here, and I'm just gonna do what I was writing in my planner. I'm going to just type here in my notepad here, and we'll just do that. Yeah, it's too bad that can't. It might just be a settings, might be jacked. My settings might just be jacked. I don't know. I might have to go in there and check. It might just be default. Yeah, I don't know what the hell the problem is. Let's see. Chat. Let's see. Oh, cool. We're close. Us Canadians are stereotyped to be polite too. Yeah, you sure are. The Canadians I know in person are actually very polite, which is funny. Neil, I might do a car camping road trip down south over the break. Cool. Like how far down south? You mean like in United States? That's cool. I guess Canadians would get along with Southern Americans, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, Americans don't really have high, like conservatives don't really have a very good opinion about Canadians because most Southerners are conservatives, and conservatives don't believe in like universal health care or like healthcare systems where everybody contributes. They believe in private healthcare. So already like yeah, they would look at y'all like you're stupid. Even though like y'all doing it right, right? Or at least you're doing it better than we are. But I think most Southerners would disagree with that, which is stupid. But so I think a lot of like I don't think y'all would get along. Unfortunately, it's too bad, and it's all the Southerners' fault. It's their fault. But before Trump cracks down on the border, I know, right? Yeah, get your traveling in now. There's been a movement here to say unhoused people rather than homeless. Yeah, I mean, yeah, um, that's definitely a thing. It's interesting though. Some people push back on the houseless thing, which is interesting. Um, like one of those people is my wife. My wife used to be homeless, and she pushes back against the houseless. She sees it as like kind of a form of erasure because in her opinion, like when she was homeless, she felt like she literally did not have a home, and to like just to disregard that and just say like, oh, you're houseless, is to like not recognize the seriousness of the problem. Like no, like actually I was homeless. Like I did not have a home, and it was horrible, and that needs to be recognized, right? That's what she. And there's people who say that too. They're like, there's people who are like, yeah, this whole push toward like saying house is kind of like sanitizing the problem. But everybody has their opinion. Uh, yeah, everybody. You just got. It's complex, right? It's complex. Uh, Jeremy said, could it be in California that costs of living is high and people work extremely hard? That people rude? No, it's just people are assholes. Because people were assholes back when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, Oakland was very cheap. It was very cheap. It was really cheap to live in California. I mean, there was a time like when my mom moved to California, uh, back in the late '70s. It was like people were moving to the San Francisco Bay Area because it was very cheap. But people, my mom says like, man, I moved to California. Everybody was a jerk. So, and yeah, politeness just wasn't really a thing. Uh, any time, whether what drove the cost of living up in California was the tech 2.0 when like Facebook came and Twitter and which is now X and all that, and like Spotify and like all these like tech companies started putting their headquarters, and then they just started and then they hired all these people who were making six figures, and the real estate agents noticed, or the landlords and property owners noticed this, and they said, oh, we can just raise the cost of living extraordinarily because you got all these like people making huge amounts of money. That's how it started, right? But people were like, jackasses way before that Facebook existed or like Twitter existed. Um, let's see. What the fuck you have to pay for a shelter? Yeah, no, it's stupid. Like, yeah, no, and I could go on. I could go on about all the stupidity about social services here in my city. It's horrible. I mean, that's just one thing. Like, I can talk to you for days about like the idiotic shit that happens here in terms of like social services here in Memphis, but let me not go down that rabbit hole. Vancouver and Toronto are the most expensive cities in North America. Okay, when considering wage and cost of living, seventh before Seattle and just after San Francisco and New York. Okay. Did you get the link above? No, I guess the links are blocked. And I don't think there's anything I could do about that unless I make you like a moderator or some shit. And then I think you'll be able to put links, but I don't think you want to have that authority. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think you can post links. But I'll take your word for it because you're cool. I tried to send a link, but no, I can't see it. The Canadian dollar is lower than the American dollar. Americans generally have better salaries for a lot of professions. Okay, even though we have higher, definitely some jobs pay better here, but professional jobs get paid way higher in the U.S. Okay, you might pick up my friend in Pittsburgh and drive to the deep south and was wondering if we could stop it. Oh yeah, come to Memphis. Yeah, we could definitely hang out. That'll be cool. I mean, in terms of like sightseeing, it's not really much to see, to be honest with you. But we could go around. We could check out Graceland, which is highly overrated in my opinion. Or you got the Civil Rights Museum where Dr. King got assassinated. You got that place, which is a cool museum. But that's where he got assassinated. And then Beale Street, which again is where B.B. King played, and then you got all these record studios where a lot of the southern rockabilly, that Elvis and blues music was created. And there's places we could go, but I think I would just take you to a lot of the a lot of the underground indie shit, which is highly more interesting. Take you to like the burlesque shows and the drag show. I think that would be a lot more, but it's up to you. It's what you want to do. Like a lot of that, experimental Memphis pop music. That's pretty awesome. Let's see. I appreciate your wife's views. I have heard the opposite argument where some people consider their tents and structures to be their home right now, and saying that it isn't their home makes it. Yeah, it just depends on the person. So, it's hard to make generalizations like that. I think I learned that from, I read this book called The Collected Schizophrenias, and I made a video about it where, this person who deals with schizophrenia, and then she considers herself like, no, I'm schizophrenic. And then people will push back like, no, you're not schizophrenic. You're a person that deals with schizophrenia. But she's like, no, like, I'm schizophrenic. My schizophrenia literally defined influences my very being. Like, it's a part of who I am. And to like not acknowledge that is dismissive. But then other people will be like, yeah, no, I don't define myself by my mental illnesses, and which is totally valid. So it's what you need to do, I think, is you need to talk to each individual and be like, well, do you consider yourself homeless or houseless? What do you? And it's like, it's not like this broad stroke you can paint on people, Yeah, I think we need to kind of get more into that kind of thinking. Yeah. Easier to dismantle by the cops. You should look up Doug Ford, my province's premier. Okay, he is spending $6 million to rip out bike lanes in Toronto that were just installed. Yeah, like I'm saying, like, you bring up a good point. Like, it's shit going on everywhere. Like, it's just like this crap. Yeah, I see the Canada, they're tearing down bike lanes. Like here in Memphis, they're like getting rid of bus lines. which is like, why the fuck would you do, like, it's so stupid. But it's like it's happening everywhere. It's just stupid. So which one's better? Like Memphis, LA, it's same, different problems, same same shit. Canada's got just as much crap as America. It's just a different shade of the shit. So what I was doing with my community activism, if I could go back to my community. Okay, that's pretty small. Let's see. Oh shit. Oh. How can I just zoom? Okay. Zoom in. Control plus. There we go. That's that's going to be a huge thing for me. Oh, I spelled it wrong. For my resolution, I got to do things that are more community activists. Not bombs. I got to do more of that. So I'm defining my values, and I'm going to base that off my resolutions. Also, plant patient escort. I want to do more of that. I do that a lot, where I escort patients from at Planned Parenthood from their car to the building, because you got these jackasses that are in front protesting, saying abortion is murder and all this crap. So that's pretty important. Isn't Aretha Franklin from Memphis? I don't think she's originally from Memphis, but I know I think she blew up in Memphis. Like, I think that's where her music first got big, was in Memphis. I think she was part of the Stax music label. Yeah, there's a ton of music labels here in Memphis, and now they're all museums. And I think she was part of the same music label as Isaac Hayes and several others, and they both blew up together, under that same label. And if you want to go there and learn about that, if you ever come here, I'll take you over there. That's a pretty good museum, actually. I'm interested in civil rights history. Yeah, Memphis has a lot of that. And then Philosophy Master. Hello, Philosophy Master. I have a question, an objective one. What are the 2 books for Hegel's political philosophy? Oh, are you the same guy that I was talking to in the comments, Philosopher Master? I'm not sure, because it would be funny if you were. Because oh, okay, yeah, yes, because we talked about it before. Remember? I don't think Hegel really has much. He's not really the guy to go to for political philosophy. I understand, a lot of philosophers have derived a lot of political philosophers have derived their thought from Hegel, like Marx and Lenin and Mao and Engels. But I think they were stretching pretty far. I think they embraced that the dialectics of Hegel, but they put their own little spin on it. They kind of put their own flavor on it, and a lot of what I would argue, although Marx I think does a good job at interpreting Hegel in a way that's accurate to his philosophy. Lenin, Mao, Stalin, all those Marxist-Leninist people, I think they largely misinterpret Hegel. They massively misinterpret Hegel, in my opinion, and they try and say, and so you get this false idea that Hegel is some sort of political philosopher, but I would say a lot of that is just misinterpretation. And I talk about that in like I think I did a video about one of Stalin's works where I kind of go in depth about that. You might check that out. I think it's like dialectical materialism of something. Uh, yeah, but let's see. It's like pronouns. Yeah, it's like pronouns. Community activism is on my resolution. Setting this time up, I feel like I wouldn't have gotten around to it for a while. Do you ever feel very angry that people block good things from happening? I feel angry all the damn time. There's nothing wrong with anger. See, that's why I don't vibe with Stoicism. Because Stoicism, they're like, well, anger is useless. I disagree. Like, now, like, if you were to like disregard anger and like be if you were able to like just push anger aside, I think that probably would be very. I don't. There's nothing wrong with that either. Like, but their whole thing is like anger does not result in anything constructive. Which no, anger can be a fuel. You can like focus anger. You can like you can direct anger into something positive. It can motivate you. It's like being nervous on stage. Like when you're nervous, that can actually push you to do a good job. As opposed to if you're not nervous, then you might just be like, you might not do the best performance because you don't have that drive, right? Uh, so yeah, no. If you're getting angry about the state of the world, that's a good thing. That means you just now have to like, okay, how can I drive that anger into something constructive, which is very easy to do, right? I would argue, just like join like an activist group. That's like means a lot to you, and use that anger to like, to drive you. I mean, I'm sure plenty. I was gonna say I should write a book about, but I'm sure like there's plenty of people that have written books about that kind of thing. That's like I think that's a common idea. Let's see. Do you ever feel very? Yep. Activism is my. Yeah. Let's all be activists. Yes, Neil, should we rename resolution list revolution list? Well, I mean, it's not all. We gotta have some time for fun too. So, like another thing for me, it's like lifelong learner. That's gonna be important. Also, that doesn't get that's a role I want to fulfill too. And that's not revolutionary. That's like learning. I guess you kind of learn, kind of change yourself, but read more philosophy, which I'm doing. And just interesting books in general, and like I'm studying Japanese, which is pretty cool. I'm learning skills like, this actually relates to another one. I'm learning roller derby. Isn't that funny? We can talk about that for a second. I'll let that hang. But let me see here. Love it. But the philosophy of history and philosophy of right are the books that are his works close to these grounds. I mean, first of all, like the philosophy of history and the philosophy of right is a book by him. That's true. But that's more like philosophy of right is more like morality or ethics. That's like ethics, which you could apply ethics to political philosophy, and like it does have some political philosophy, but it's mostly like a work of ethics, I would argue. And the philosophy of history is not really a book, really. It's a collection of notes that his students put together based off of his lectures, right? Right? So it's not really like you know, is not so much indicative of his philosophy. It's kind of more like what he thought of, like it kind of gives you the foundation of like um, his frame of reference, or like where he's coming from, which is, I would say like it's not, you're not getting his like uh, philosophical like concepts. You're getting like the foundation. So I think that philosophy of history and the history of philosophy are good to read, just so you can get a better understanding of where he's coming from, Hegel. Not so much like, okay, now I understand like his philosophical ideas, because his actual works like Philosophy of Right and Phenomenology of Spirit and the others, uh, like his works are they're very difficult to understand. I think it's helpful to read like his lecture notes, which aren't even his. It's like his students, like, because then you're like understanding, like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to understand like where this is all coming from. But it gives you a foundation, kind of. But I wouldn't put too much weight on the philosophy of history, to be completely honest with you, in terms of Hegel. Like I think you may be putting a bit too much, or associating too much meaning on those lecture notes. I would argue, because they're lecture notes, and they're not even his lecture notes. They're like from his students that were compiled and then like into this anthology, which isn't even kind of. I mean, it is his lectures, right? But it's like not his actual like philosophical like ideas, right? So I don't know. This is Montreal food, not bombs. Do you know about? Okay, I can. People should practice. No, but that's not what Stoicism is. It's about using emotions to pursue important. Well, the Stoics believe anger is useless, right? I'm pretty sure that's the thing. Like Stoics don't see any value in anger at all. I mean, there's more to Stoicism than that, for sure. But that, yeah, and I think like that's a huge. I don't really vibe with Stoicism, to be completely honest with you. I mean, it's cool, it's cool, but there are some like things I just don't vibe with it. It's not like I don't want to say it's flawed, but there's just some things I don't vibe with, and that's one of those. I think that's a major thing, because I think anger is something that there's justified. There's righteous anger. That is a thing. Like, there's good reasons to get angry, right? But I think when you allow anger to take you, when you allow anger to grip you, and you're not using your wisdom and your self-control and your discipline to like curtail it, right? To hone it into something useful, then it becomes a problem. But I think anger, much like nervousness, that's another one, I think. Now there are some emotions that are useless that we should be like, okay, that's something that we should just do. But I don't think anger is one of them. That's just me. That's just me. That's one of the. There's some other things about Stoicism that I'm like, yeah, no, that's not. I also don't like how in Stoicism how they have that idea that you're supposed to, it'll be good for you to imagine the very worst possible thing that could happen. I'm all about like contingency plans and like planning. Sometimes it's not necessary to, and sometimes it's not helpful to plan for the worst case scenario like all the time. Oftentimes it's just better to like plan for the most practical or the most like reasonable situations, which can be negative, but you also have to like think about like, well, what's the most what's the most reasonable practical thing that can, not the very worst case scenario like all the time, because you'll go down spirals doing that. I know like maybe Stoics would disagree with that. They'll be like, no, you're mentally preparing yourself, and I think maybe for some people that works. But I think for some people, like, yeah, that doesn't. It's like it's kind of like meditation. Like some people just meditation just doesn't work for them because they have like intrusive thoughts and shit. And they can't just be alone with their thoughts, or like they can't just like get rid of their thoughts because that's just not how their brain works, right? So different strokes for different folks. And then I see fun and learning as part of the revolution as well. Okay, we don't center society around fun anymore. We need to include more fun. Yeah, no, it's important to have fun. I do think it's important to have fun, but it's a balance, right? It's a balance. Because the whole hustle culture and work, that's bad. But there's also this other side where it's like the constant like meme culture, and like everything is a joke. Like even seriousness is like a joke now, and like and then entertainment now is basically trauma porn, pretty much. It is like trauma has now become entertainment, which is like, how did we get here? I think like so I think we could take that too far too, and sometimes fun should just be for fun, and sometimes like you got to do the work and it's not gonna be fun, like but don't always leave yourself room for breaks. But I think that's another thing, kind of like, that's hurting us as the younger generations. I think maybe the older generations they have that advantage over us. Like particularly like my grandma's generation, the silent generation, they understood like, no, sometimes you just need to like grit your teeth if you want to do the right thing. Like my grandma, the silent generation, they understood that because they've been through some Great Depression, and not saying we haven't been through. But I think we kind of lost like that whole like idea of like sometimes you do just have to grit your teeth and bite the bullet and just like kind of, because some shit is hard, and it's not always gonna be fun, but but don't obsess with work all the time. So you gotta have balance. But I think that and I press that point, because I do see that in this younger generation, in my generation. It's like, people are so upset about the state of the world, but it's like, yeah, but what are you actually doing? And then ultimately, like, they don't want to do it because it's just not fun. It's like, well, sometimes you can't have fun like all the time, Sometimes you really just have to, you're going to have to get your ass out there and work, and it's not going to be, but I don't know, that's just a tangent. And then Philosopher Master, the book Philosophy of History invented a term of spirit and nation. Spirit with the means and his key thing. I think that Hegel's work and Marx are connected, especially these two. Okay. I mean, it also kind of depends on the translation, because like nation spirit, or maybe you might also be talking about. I've heard it also translated as the notion, like the drive, the notion, which I think that's what you mean when you're saying nation spirit, which is probably like your translation probably calls it that. This idea that like everything is driving toward this thing. This notion, but I don't even know if that was created by Hegel. I don't think it was. I think he was one of the people that first highlighted it in Western philosophical thought, maybe. But I'm pretty sure like indigenous cultures, like American indigenous or like African, probably already had those conceptions going on like hundreds of years before, maybe even thousands. I don't. Children get less and less playtime at school, and adults rarely get the chance to be silly. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's true. I don't know, man. I guess so, but I don't know. A lot of these kids are playing the Fortnite, And adults are like posting those memes left and right, man. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I see adults being silly all the fucking time. I don't know. I log inside. I mean, have you seen TikTok? Like TikTok is just adults being silly. Like that. That's pretty much all what TikTok is. It's just adults being silly, which is kind of honestly a little annoying. Honestly, but TikTok is too much for me. I can't handle TikTok. It's just like okay. It reminds me of watching like those, back when they were, Ren and Stimpy and like Beavis and Butthead. I actually like those shows, but I can't watch marathons of those shows. It's like it starts getting a little too stupid, but maybe that's me. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't know. I log into social media and all I see is adults being silly, and I keep like children just playing the Fortnite and the Roblox, which is fun. Children need to play. Children need to play. Absolutely, absolutely. But it's like I don't know. I see children playing all the damn time. Now our school system is doesn't cater to creativity and like imagination. That's true. Standardized tests and all that. That sucks. Maybe the schools need to like focus more on like creativity time and just like just recess and stuff. But outside of school, it's a lot of tomfoolery. Y'all should read What's the Point If We Can't Have Fun? David Graeber. Yeah, I have a friend who's like a super fan of David Graeber. Just a super fan. One of these days I might get into that guy because I have a good buddy, a fellow Food Not Bombs member. He's like, David Graeber, David Graeber, David Graeber. So one of these days. I think on my revolution list I will inspire people to read a lot. Cool. We have a book in Yugoslavia. It was made as a full book. I have the okay. Yeah. I've read the book. That's on my YouTube channel. The Philosophy of History, the History of. I just printed it out, whatever translation it was. I mean, it's a book, but it's not. It wasn't written by Hegel, right? It was Hegel's students, like put it together. So there's that. But it does have some of Hegel's ideas. These notes are better than many books. Maybe. I read these books and they sound just like his thoughts. They have a deep meaning. Yeah, that's true. Anyways, what are your favorite political philosopher books from Germany other than Marx? I don't think I have any. From Germany, specifically from Germany. I don't. I have a political philosophy playlist on my YouTube channel. If you want to check out I've covered many political philosophy books, but specifically from Germany, I don't know. I think you might want to expand your horizons or your scope and look at like political philosophy outside of Europe. That might be very helpful for you. I do think people nowadays don't take shit seriously. I mean, it's either people take shit too seriously or they just like not taking it seriously at all. Like there's a balance. We've lost balance, and that's like partly due to our social institutions that have kind of fucked up our brains, so we can't really balance shit out anymore. People rather be clowns. I know for me, I would hate being treated as a fool and laughed at when I have my own mind and thoughts to express. Okay, I guess so. But I find TikTok so because it's to be so narcissistic. Not sure if this is the best plight. I know it's not, but I would tell that to the people who are playing. Right? I think they would probably disagree. They would say like, "No, I'm having a great time." It's like, no, you're kind of being an egomaniac. But children playing Fortnite is not letting them play in an imaginative way. I don't know. I think, well, I don't know about Fortnite, but I think, yeah, I mean, I basically agree, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who will push back and say, no, no, video games are actually a great way to express imagination, particularly like games like Roblox that are basically like digital Legos, pretty much. Where I think at Roblox you actually create your own games in the game. I've never played Roblox, but that's what I hear. I think people would argue like, no, those are great forms of creativity, which I don't know. Are they? I think there's value in just going outside and touching grass, right? It's important too. I disagree. I've been reading a lot about how we've lost our imagination as a society. Uh, yeah. I think people are having fun in non-imaginative ways. That's the thing. You can have fun and and not have any type of imagination or creativity, right? Like mindless fun. Right? That there's fun in that too. And then also you can use your imagination and creativity in very productive ways that are not fun. That are like, that are just like you gotta get the work done, right? But I think that's kind of necessary too. I think that's kind of a thing we've lost, or like, because that's not useful for capitalism. Like we've kind of like lost the work. Like some forms of work require imagination and creativity, right? That are not fun, but that's kind of necessary. But that type of work is not valued anymore because it doesn't like cater to like profit margins or corporations making money. They just want mindless laborers, right? So yeah. The book by Rob Hopkins, From What Is to What If, Unleashes the Power of Man to Create the Future We Want, talks about how capitalists will corrupt. Yeah, exactly. We work 40 plus hours a week. Most people are exhausted to the core and can only manage to watch YouTube. Yep. It's true. It's true. It's true. But yeah. But the thing is, yeah. Like I was saying, like it's true. It's true. Like, and like I was saying before, with family man role is like I got a 40 plus hour job a week. I got a 40-hour job a week that exhausts me, and it puts us in really shitty ass positions. Now, but the thing is, like at the end of the day, like and this is where it gets kind of I'm not trying to blame people. But at a certain point, and see, this is what the silent generation like understood. Like they understood this. Like at a certain point, you just kind of have to like, kind of like work it out. Like you gotta be like, okay, I'm in this fucked up situation, but let me like try. And I know a lot of people be like, well, you can't like if you work a factory job 40 hours a week. You can't like that. Your capacity to try is very, but that's where we're at. Like somebody's got to break the cycle. I see so many. I mean, what do? They watch after work. They watch Monday Night Football, and like that's their whole world. It's like, which is fine up to a certain point. It's like, okay, maybe like for one Monday out of the football season, not turn on that game and like maybe read a book or like take a walk. Take or try and like learn something new. I don't. Or maybe play a board game with your kid. I mean, I know you're tired, but maybe like make a little bit. I guess that's what New Year's resolutions are about. Like actually be like, okay, what are my values? And like, okay, I may have to put a little extra effort. I mean, you might have to put a lot of extra effort into it, right? Um, no, it's definitely true. Like, so I guess the one I'm getting at is, um, yes, like you're stating the problem. Like, yeah, and I agree. Like the whole like, yeah, man, we're in this rat race, and by the time we're done, we're too tired. It's like, okay, you're just stating the problem. It's like, okay, so how are we gonna get out of this shit? And then it's kind of like, well, the system has to change, but how is the system going? You have to change this. At a certain point, it's like the system isn't going to change itself, right? And that requires a little bit of effort. That's all I'm saying. like, uh, you know. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Where it's kind of like, we kind of live in this world where people are just stating problems. It's like, yeah, it's a fucked up situation. It's like, all right, I know. Uh, what are we gonna do? It's like, well, I'm really tired. I'm like, I get it, and but somebody's got to do it. Like, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. I don't know. So that's where I'm at. I'm just like, dude, like somebody, let's do the Food Not Bombs. Let's do the Planned Parenthood. Let's like, and I recognize like I'm in a privileged position, but there's a lot of people in me, like me, who are privileged. Not everybody. Some people are, they work like, 7 days a week, and for those people it's too hard. But there's a lot of people like me, like I guess lower middle class citizens that, because I do know people like me who are just working office jobs, and they do have capacity, and they're still just wrapped in these spirals of like, oh, I can't do shit. It's like, yeah, you can do something. Like, I'm not talking about like the person that's working like at McDonald's, and then they got another job at Burger King, and then I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like somebody, the white collar worker like me, which there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. At a certain point, like, the excuses kind of get old. That's not. And I just feel like older generations kind of understood that, but not to put them on a pedestal. They had all types of fucking problems, right? but I think we kind of don't have that. Imagination is such a lost mental capacity that has been systematically ruined. Yeah, like, so like, we have these huge problems these days, like climate change and like poverty and houselessness, homelessness. Uh, the healthcare system, like, how do we solve these problems? They require imagination. They require creativity. Because a lot of people just can't think like, how the hell do we do it? Because our creativity and our imagination has been crushed by the capitalist system. But that's how So we're living we're dealing with the most serious problems require skills that most people don't have. Like, they require imagination and creativity. So those are things that we need to foster and like kind of hold dear and try and like push forward. I mean, I think I did a video about a live stream about that too. Let's see. Where was I? Hello, our virtual. Might have missed this, but are you learning to skate? I forgot about that. Yeah, so just quickly. Yeah, I joined. I'm. There's a roller derby team here in Memphis. Roller derby here in Memphis, and I'm good friends with many of them. and I used to watch the games, and I wanted to volunteer to just help, and they're like, why don't you join the school, the skate school? Like we host an 8 week school session where you can learn how to skate, and I'm like, oh cool, I'll do that. I was like, hey, I'd like to help. After the games, I could like pick up the chairs and tables, like move the cones back, sweep the floor. I could do that. And they're like, no, come to the skate school. I'm like, okay. So I come to the skate school. Bought some roller skates. I didn't realize like what it actually is roller derby tryouts. I didn't know that. I thought they were just teaching you simple skate skill, because I never roller skated before ever. Like, I was doing that. This happened like a year ago, a few like 6 months ago or about. I never skated before. So, and they're like, okay, we're gonna teach you how to roller skate backwards. You're gonna learn how to like jump on the skates. You're gonna learn how to skate on one foot. You're gonna learn how to like do 180s. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like I can't even stand up on these skates. Like, but it was fun. It was fun. And then they have a test at the end, and if you pass the test, you get to join the team. But of course, like I'm saying, like I don't know how to roller skate. But now, if you like was roller skating as a little kid, like you might know these skills. You also have to stop on a dime and shit at like high speeds and stuff. Like, I can't do that. Or you gotta like walk on your tippy toes on the skates. Like you gotta just walk on the two front skates, like two front wheels. I'm like, what the hell? But it was fun. It was fun. Of course, I failed the test because which is a normal thing, a very common thing. Like, it's not unusual to fail that test. It's hard, right? But I actually want to be a referee, because the Memphis roller derby team is very it's great. It's like it's queer friendly. There's a lot of allies, queer allies. There's a lot of progressive thinking. It's very left leaning. The pro abolition, very progressive politics. It's like everything that's good about Memphis is in that roller derby team. So I'm like, and they're short on referees. So I'm like, I want to be like a referee. But if you want to be a referee, you still have to know like the advanced skate skills, right? So I got past that test. So that's gonna take me a long ass time. But I practice. I'm gonna get on that and start practicing and take that test and pass, so I can be a referee. That would be great to support the team in that way. So I'm working on that. But that's like lifelong learner, and that also kind of ties into like community activists, because the roller derby team is like is a great part of the local community here, I think. So I kind of, to support that team would be great. I think that would be really good. Okay, so what's going on here? I think the translations are bad in English. Are you using, maybe you're using a translator? That's too bad. But I hear you, philosophy master, with the, I guess we have to agree to disagree, which is fine. Like, I just don't see Hegel as like the best person to go to for political philosophy. I mean, he's influential, and he's influenced many political philosophers. But I would go to Marx. I would go to the ancient Greeks like Plato and Aristotle. I would go to Rousseau with the social contract. That's a good one. Even Hobbes, even though Hobbes was, got the problematic shit. But a lot of his problematic ideas, like a lot of the modern day politicians embrace, like Thomas Hobbes with the Leviathan, and like John Locke, a lot of his political philosophy, And then also, if you're talking more like other outside Europe, Europe, right? You would go to like Confucius. He's got a lot of political philosophy of China and such. Even like I don't even argue like the art of war and the Book of Five Rings. Like, they have some good political philosophy that is kind of influential to a lot of political thought. The what is it called? The Prince. That's another good political philosophical. I mean, not the best ideas like ethically, but a lot of political thought is unethical, right? So it gives you a good understanding of where people are coming from. But Hegel, like I don't know. Hegel more for me is like phenomenology and epistemology and ethics. A little bit of political philosophy, but I don't know, not like that much. But I guess if you want to understand, like, yeah, I would go to the Marxist Leninists to like see how they interpreted Hegel to form their own political philosophy, which a lot of that I would argue is misunderstood or like misinterpreted. But Marx, though, I think he did not misinterpret Hegel, but the rest of them kind of did. There's a lot of research about how screens are not great outlets for creativity unless you are designing something, but written word in nature and inanimate objects are best for sparking. Yeah, it's true. We should be going outside more. Using actual objects, tangible things. It's true. As somebody who is a gamer, who is like, one of the things I am doing, I am, I guess the last thing is like, I don't even know how to leisure person. I have some good time. I am developing my own game. Develop video game. That used to be my dream, to be a video game developer. I'm actually a big gamer myself. But I worked for Namco Bandai, or Bandai Namco, the company that makes Pac-Man. And then I learned like, oh, okay, the video game industry is toxic as fuck. So I like did an about face and exited that. So I just make games on the side, and that's something I enjoy doing. I think that's very creative. I get a lot of creative joy from doing that. I'd recommend the Rob Hopkin book, From What Is to What If. Okay, I feel like some folks can afford to work it out, but a single mother of four can't. Yep, nope. And I would not put that onus on a single mother of four. But I think there's a lot of people like me who are working people, kind of if some emergency were to happen, it wouldn't be too far away from me being homeless, to be honest with you. But still have the capacity to, I'm just saying where all us at, because there's a lot of people like me. I'm just, as I've said before, it's not all just like single mothers of four. There's a lot of those people, like, and so the onus doesn't go to them. The onus goes to people like me. And where are we at? We're just like, watching 50 Shades of Grey and shit, or like watching Desperate Housewives, and it's like, I'm tired. Like, oh, you're tired of your like office job? Is like, okay, I get it. It is very mind numbing, but shit, like, I don't know. We can't expect them to work it out when they are living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what is. But anyway, this is I got so many books I'm reading. I'll show you if. Do I have it? Yeah, so many books. People are recommending me so many books. And I'm part of like 4 different book clubs. But I'm currently reading this book. Oh, can you even see it? Yeah. There it is. Braiding Sweetgrass. that's the book I'm reading now, Braiding Sweetgrass. It's a big ass book too, but that book is It's amazing. It's incredible. It's fucking. Honestly, it might actually be like my all-time favorite book, like ever. Like, I don't know. It's getting like I'm not even. I think I just hit the halfway point, and I'm like, yeah, this might be like my all-time favorite book. Like it's fucking incredible. It's amazing, and yeah, there definitely will be a video about that. And what's amazing about this book, like, what's cool about this? I mean, there's so many good things about this. I'll talk about it in the book, but like one thing I'll highlight, like if you are looking at the state of the world and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, here's your answer. Right here. This is your answer right here. If you read this book and you finish it, you'll be like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do now. Like, I know what I need to do. I mean, they give you a plan for action, but it's so artistic and like spiritual and scientific and like traditional, and it's like throws out that Eurocentrism, European focus, and like, you know, talks about indigenous cultures and indigenous wisdom, and it's a masterpiece. I mean, you know, I don't know, to call it a masterpiece is kind of an understatement. like it's incredible, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But it's a long ass book though. But yeah, I would highly recommend if you haven't read that book. Like that's that's an amazing book, and I'll talk in depth about it in my next video. Let's see. I agree. You should never impede upon your hobbies. What you're saying is that silent folks will still spend time with friends, families, and hobbies because they value time. Is that it? The silent generation? Nah, yeah. I mean, they did do that, didn't they? They did do that. But what I'm saying is like the silent generation, like my grandma always said, and people that were old, like they always like, they were saying like, you know, they had that quality about, you know, that's why they're called the silent generation, because they kind of just took it in stride. They were like silent about it. They didn't complain much. And of course they fucking complain. My grandma complained all the damn time. But my grandma, like, and people like her, they're always like, look, life sucks. And you just got to keep moving forward. And they weren't like nihilistic about it, right? They weren't, they didn't go, you know, they were just like, look, that's just how life is. Life is suffering. It's like the Buddhist, the Buddhist Four Noble Truths. Life is suffering. So yeah, just keep moving forward. Like the best you could do is, you know, they didn't like deteriorate. Like there's so many people today, and now I'm starting to sound like a boomer, by boomer moment. But it's, you know, people today is like, life is hard, and they just like, it's like they melt into a puddle. It's like, all right, like pick yourself back up and let's get to work. You know, fists up, elbows greased. You know, I don't know. Yeah. Part of my revolution list is to have more fun and leave space for imagination. Leave my phone at home and just go in nature and make natural sculptures. Oh, that's cool. They sure did. They benefited from no TV and internet. Well, they definitely didn't have internet, but they certainly had TV. Like the silent generation was the generation of television. Right? Television was invented in their generation. You know, they watched. But yeah, not excessive TV. Well, no, I mean, you know, what did they have? What's that show? Rawhide, I think it's called. It's called Rawhide. Like they had all those westerns and shit, and like you know, and Buck Rogers and all that, and the Masked Rider, you know, like Andy Griffin show, and Leave It to Beaver and all that crap. You know? They had TV, And they had a lot of modern and they had the radio, but again in the 1920s. I think it did, right? My grandma was born in 1926. Uh, yeah, I think the television was invented in the 30s, right? I believe. I think the television didn't get widely adopted until like the 50s, like after World War II. But that was my that was a silent generation that took advantage of that after World War II. Uh, yeah, it's kind of like the internet. The internet was like developed in the 80s, but it didn't really get massively adopted until like the late 90s. It was like 15, 20 years of development before it like got widespread. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not talking about white collar folks. They can easily carve time out of their weeks. Ain't outside tonight, but wondering if you ever have infighting in your activist. Oh yeah, I've had infighting in my activist group. We've kicked out many people in food food not bombs alone. We've kicked out several people because they were problematic. I experienced this week when prepping for winterization of tents initiative. I was a bystander. Oh yeah, no, I mean that's just the thing. Like if you have a group of people, there eventually people are not going to get along, and that's just something you got to be able to work out. That requires like organization skills, leadership skills, emotional intelligence, all that. But yeah, no, that's the thing. As you get older, you kind of like, as I personally get older, I kind of expect like, oh, okay, like there's going to be problematic people. It doesn't matter where you're at. It could be church, it could be the job, the corporation, the corporate office, the activist group, the like book club, the whatever, man, the internet chat room, right? There's always going to be your problematic people. You got to deal with what you got to make it work. But yeah, no, leftist activist groups are definitely not exempt with in the infighting for sure. I can't wait for 4-day, even 3-day work weeks. Is that oh, you're gonna have a 4-day, 3-day work week? That's cool. Because that's not. I mean, that's not. I don't think that's happening in my lifetime, until I retire. but that's cool for you. Until I can do that. Can you do a live about brainstorming? I'd like to have a book club about it with you. Can I do a live? I don't know about. Can you do a live about? I mean, we could just hang out on Discord or whatever if you wanted to. Because what'll happen is we'll just have a live and it'll just be like us. I'm sure like other people will talk about stuff, but it'll just be like a personal live for us too. Instead, why don't we can just like chat about it on Discord off the channel. But I definitely will make a video. But if you want to just do a buddy read or something, I'm down with that. Put out another book this year. Yeah, I know she also has another book called like Finding Moss or whatever, which I absolutely will read 100% because I'm reading everything this author puts out. But another thing is, in the silent generation, mental illness wasn't taken as seriously. Yep, that's one of the flaws. So every generation has flaws. Every generation has flaws. No generation is perfect. No, nothing is perfect, right? So I say this positive thing about the silent generation, but there's a ton of like negative things you can say about the silent, or any generation for that matter. So that's true. I thought the silent generation began in the 1920s. Oh, I already read that. They grew up with it, which probably shaped their thinking. Yeah, they didn't. They probably didn't grow up with. Oh, they said it probably did shape their thinking. But by the time I would say by the time the 50s happened, like television shaped their thinking a lot. Like my grandma watched TV like all the damn time. Like she was, and I think a lot of people her age was like they were just television junkies. like they might not have grown up with it, but a lot of like silent generation people, they became really addicted to television. For sure. Like the tube, for sure. It's kind of like us, the millennial generation, Generation Y. We didn't grow up with the internet. We did not, but we sure in hell embraced that shit. we got addicted to it, but we did not grow up with the internet. We embraced it though. Uh, would you want to do live about how to move forward with the infighting? There's so many movements that get dismantled due to it. I recommend the documentary for a crew about. Okay. Yeah, I could add that to the list. How to do. I think I have a lot of. I got a lot of experience in that. To be honest with you, I dealt with that a lot, particularly in activist groups, but not just activist groups, like many groups. But I think, yeah, I could definitely talk about that. Uh, or just like conflict in groups. Oh, and there was infighting between indigenous and non-indigenous. Oh, that sucks. A post-growth economy. I mean, that'll probably, I believe that it will happen because I mean, people was, I mean, there was a time when a 40-hour work week was like, that was a fantasy. Right? That was a fantasy. I mean, it took a lot of people hard work to get a 40-hour work week. So it probably will be a 3-day work week eventually. I do not think that will happen in our lifetime, unfortunately. I have to say, I think it will happen. We're the ones that are gonna have to like do the foundational work to make that happen. That's up to us. I don't think that's gonna happen in our lifetime. Particularly like the way things are going now, with like everything's starting to go conservative and right, like throughout the world. Like we gotta push back. It's time, and that's gonna take a long ass time. But it'll eventually happen. So that might be one of your resolutions, but not a year. That's like half century resolution. uh, but maybe others have read it or still have questions about it. Well, there's always a comment section. There's a comment section, man. That's all right. Yeah. uh, yeah, I don't like to do unless I know a lot of people are reading it. Uh, I kind of like the live streams to be more about topics rather than books. Uh, yeah. But maybe if some other people were to comment and say, "Yeah, I'm reading it," and like it depends. if like a bunch of people were to just hop on this VOD and be like, yeah, I'm reading it, I would like okay, I'll do it. But no. So now, do you think that today's youth are capable of handling wars and crisis? Yeah, I mean, shit, wars and crises are happening now, right? I mean, they're happening. So, I mean, they're happening. So, it's not so much. Oh, but you're just asking like, would they be? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Um, yeah, I'm saying like, I'm not even talking about just wars and like crisis. I'm just talking about like doing things to change society for the better, which not which doesn't necessarily, which a war doesn't do that, or a crisis doesn't do that, but a lot of like work and sacrifice and like endurance requires that, like movements, like to start a movement. Um, yeah, I just think we're not younger people, and I include myself, like the millennial generation and younger. We're ill-equipped to push movements forward. Left, we're less equipped than the older generation, I think, and I would say that's the older generation's fault, right, for not passing on those skills by allowing our society to be in such a shitty ass position where we don't get those skills. Uh, yeah. Maybe we could read 2000. What is it? Natural World together. Sure. We can read whatever. Just pick one. Pick I mean, I know. At the same time, you know. I mean, you're my buddy, like you're my pal, but you understand, right? I'm reading a lot of books, and I don't mean to say that like, oh, I'm reading some. That's fun. I'm reading a lot of books. So the thing about it is, when you recommend me a book, right? What you're also asking me to do is like push back a lot of other books that I'm currently reading. And a lot of I'm involved in many book clubs, and I have a lot of fascinating discussions. So you're also like, I'm gonna have to like not be involved in those other book club discussions, or like my own. That's what's going on here. That's why I have a Patreon where you can kind of like contribute some money, and then I understand everybody's I don't want to like push that on it because everybody is broke, right? You can't be doing that. but you see what I mean. It's like, a lot of people will recommend you should read this. It is like, but you already acknowledge, like, I have a lot of books I'm already reading, and like not only that, like I'm reading them with other people. Right? So like they're gonna be like, hey, you didn't read the book. I'm like, yeah, because I'm reading this other person came up. So it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. Yeah. So that's why it's kind of challenging to like just pick up a new book. But if a book is good enough, I'll check it out for sure. What is it? Do you think young people can survive abject poverty? Yeah, they are surviving. I mean, I don't. I mean, they were just talking. Y'all were just talking about Toronto. I'm sure there's plenty of young people living in abject poverty in Toronto. Where I'm from, San Francisco Bay Area, there are plenty of youth that are surviving abject poverty. So yeah, no, I mean that's the problem, right? Is that we got an entire class of people that are like surviving abject poverty. That people are doing it. Like the question is, we got to get out of it. Like, I mean, the real question is like creating a world where there is no abject poverty, right? Are we like, can we do that? Is our generation capable of creating, imagining that world? I mean, that's the question you should be asking, right? But to create such a world like that's hard to do, right? But often, I pose that question, and then the problem is when I pose that question, like, okay, let's think about how we can create a world where there's no abject poverty. Immediately, people throw their hands in the air and say, like, that's impossible, it can't be done. What are you talking about? You're crazy. It's like, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like, you're not even like actually sitting down and thinking about like, well, what do we need to do? or actually considering like, okay, is there anything I could do? Or you're just immediately like, no, and see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, whereas like, I think people need to, like, imagination, creativity is like, and we're asking the wrong questions. Like, that's where we're at now. Like, but I'm not like, I'm not trying to single you out, but I will say like, can we survive war, crisis? Can we survive? Like, those are the wrong questions to ask. Like, what you should be asking is like, can we create worlds where there is no war? Can we create worlds where there is no crisis? Can we create worlds where there are no abject poverty? Societies where that's just not a thing? And of course, immediately you're going to think like, well, that's impossible. But I would argue, no, that's actually possible. Like, that's a thing that can happen. But we have to start using our imagination. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where we've lost the capability. We people aren't doing that anymore, right? They're not creating, which is what Nadia's point is like. This is where we need to be focusing our energy on, right? But our society has made it so we're unable to do that, right? And we got to break out of it. You got to break out of this trap that we're in and start like really creating it, And groups like, for example, Food Not Bombs, they're doing it. They're out there like mutual aid and like providing free food. And they're like, this is a model that we could take, or like the book I told you, like braiding sweet glass. It's like, dude, indigenous people have been doing this kind of thing, centuries ago. Like, we could do it. We could do it again. We just have to like break out of this like limited Western civilization thinking that's like based off of patriarchy and capitalism. Once we like unlock our minds out of that, then we can start like, oh, so wars actually aren't necessary. Wars aren't inevitable, right? But the only reason why wars are happening is because of imperialism, right? Or like, some greedy ass elite class is like exploiting other countries for profit, That's why wars are happening, and if we like, that's a tangent. And then Virtual says, are you still making zines for free? Yep, I sure am. So if you ever want to get on that tier, I got zines ready. I got like 5-6 zines ready. But it's up to you. I'm not trying to because I know people are broke. Everybody's money is, but you'll get a zine if whatever level that is. And then do you think young people, and then you say, in your view, is life by nature hard or easy? I mean, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's mundane. Life is a spectrum. It's like, it's hard. It can be easy. It can be hard. It depends, and it also depends on your specific situation. For some people, life is always hard. For some people, life is always easy. There are those people where like they don't work a day in their life. There are people that exist like that, right? Let's not pretend that there's no, everybody deals with struggles. Like everybody, life, to live is to deal with some kind of struggle, right? But there's there's levels. There's levels. But yeah, I'm opposed to like generalizations like that. Uh, it depends. I guess I'm saying that silent generation is sure they didn't have TV, leaving them more room for imagination and creativity. These are such important years for brain development when TV came. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I would argue like the silent generation was not no more imaginative and creative than like Generation Z. You know? I mean, I don't know. I don't look. I mean, they silent generation. I'm thinking like my grandma's generation. They created a lot of cool stuff, but a lot of stuff was like the brutalism movement with the architecture that was like um, very depressing and mundane and shit. They weren't like um, they were not like extraordinarily more creative than any other generation just because they didn't have TV. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe. Uh, it was after their brains were developed. Okay. By the way, my grandmother, a black woman, who was grew up in America during Jim Crow era. She lived in Chicago, the North. Uh, so she didn't directly experience Jim Crow racism. That social structure. But she was called the N word and all types of stuff in her time. Most black women of her age were. But she was very conservative. She wouldn't tell you that, but she was very conservative, very homophobic, um, very conservative, not very progressive. Like in many ways, very uncreative. Very like, which is a thing that the silent generation is accused of, right? Very like overall very conservative, like kind of like don't don't mess with the current establishment. Just keep your head low, and uh, I look at that generation and were they the most creative? I'm sure there's plenty of creative people from that generation that we can name, but generally, like, kind of a generation that lacked a lot of creativity, to be honest with you. But achieved great things. I think it wasn't the '60s, right? Uh, yeah, I mean that was the generation that went to the moon, right? Like those Neil Armstrong, those were people from the silent generation, right? So they achieved cool, NASA's the first, so they did some cool stuff, but I'm just thinking about grandma and how conservative she was. So I don't know. I would like, is it really TV the blame? Now, I'm not putting television on a pedestal. Like, of course, like, TV stifles a lot of imagination, but there's a lot of good TV shows out that really like. I've seen some excellent television that has sparked lots of imagination for me. I don't, I don't know. Let's see. In my opinion, if we accept that life is hard, then it motivates to become conservative. Oh, okay. Can you elaborate? But we could talk about topics that come out of braiding sweeping. Yeah, we certainly can. Uh, if uh, yeah, we could talk about topics for braiding sweep class anytime you want. I don't know if I'm gonna do a live stream, but if you want to just hit me up on Discord, because it doesn't make to be super liberal like partying, drinking, smoking. But that's not sleeping around the unnecessary risks to make your life harder than it needs to be. Yeah, but like partying, drinking, smoking, like sleeping around. That's not liberal ideas. Like conservatives, like party, they drink, they smoke, they sleep around with people. Those aren't liberal ideas. And then also, like, what are we talking about when we refer to liberalism? I don't even. Hey, you're just talking about like that's the other thing. But no, there's plenty of conservatives that party all the fucking time and drink all the fucking time and smoke. Like, yeah. If Jeremy is down, you two most Star supporters. Makes sense. So that what I mean when you start it, I can start it saying that. You say Jeremy's like, I don't live life recklessly, but I would like liberals don't people who are liberal don't necessarily live life recklessly. And there's a lot of conservative, like for example, Hulk Hogan's a conservative, right? And he like slams his body like all over the place. Like, I mean, he considers himself a conservative. And there's a lot of like risk-seeking daredevil, people who like live crazy, like risky lives that like rock stars and shit who are like conservative, right? I don't know where are you getting this from. Our society lacks boredom, though. These days, Jerry says he suffers from this. All in What If book. They have great arguments in there. Okay. Definitely wouldn't say that they are more creative. The silent generation, they suffer from a lot of things that made up for screens, like very long work weeks and oppression. Yep. True. Just pointing out that as children there were more room for true play and boredom that enables. Okay, yeah. But that was likely stifled by many other factors that were happening in that. Yeah. Hedonism. Yeah. Just wanted to clarify, about when I said maybe we could read that was good. Oh, okay. So that's why I offered, don't want to overwhelm. The service bear. I actually want to read I think that's her first book, The Finding Moss. Let me look it up. Is that what it's called? Oh, maybe that's not what it's called. Oh, okay, nope. I was just say Moss, and I'm gonna say Kimmer. Oh, Gathering Moss. I'm so stupid. Yeah, I want to read that book. A Natural and Cultural History of Mosses. Oh, that's her new book? Oh, you're saying like that's the book, the book you're talking about now, The Service Berry. Yeah. I want to read. I want to go back. I want to go back to the past. Wait, where's my stuff? Okay. Natural and cultural history. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? Just to learn about moss. Grounding, calm, and quietly revolutionary. See, like the quote, the subtext is quietly revolutionary. Y'all are to talk about. Y'all are gonna make New Year's revolutions. There you go, right there. Not Amazon. I'm gonna go to Barnes and Noble. Like that's better. I want to read that next from her. This was just one that you said you were already going to. I'm talking about conservation, conservative, um, conservatism, conservative, yeah, and as in security and stability, not the social media conservative. Not true to it. Yeah, but like if you most people who call themselves conservative, they're referring to like what you call the social media conservative. Like most people, I guess in the United States of America, I would say when you go to the United States of America and you say, and if somebody says I'm conservative, they're talking about like, oh, I like Trump, I like, fossil fuel, I like, I'm against abortion, I mean that's what we're talking about, But maybe where you're from, conservatism is a little different. But that's what I'm saying. Like I think somebody asked, like, Southerners would get along with Canadians? No, because like first, I think Canadians probably have a different uh, understanding of conservatism. Like y'all would argue about what conservatism, like Southerners and Canadians would argue about like what conservatism is even is. Right? Y'all would not get along, right? uh, doesn't this title seem interesting in conservative? Yeah, it also is interesting. I like to like when I find an author that I like, I like to go back to their earlier works because I like to like understand where they're coming from. That's why like I think Philosophy Master or whatever was talking about Hegel, and that's why I like going back to Hegel's early works because yeah, I like that. I like looking at the past, what they wrote before. Yeah, I guess I'm a chronological reader like that. But yeah, I'm sure they're all good. I'm sure they're concurrently. Okay. I'll let you know. Yeah, this live stream has gotten way over. We're just hanging out. We're having a good time. So yeah, too bad that camera was destroyed. But what are you gonna do? I have no plans on buying another camera, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have no idea. I'm definitely not spending like $500-600 on another camera. That's a no for sure. Uh, yeah, maybe I can use my phone or something. I'll figure something out. But it looks like this GoPro is like on its way out, which is oh, maybe I'll just use another webcam. Maybe I'll just get yeah, I'll buy. I have 2 webcams. That's what I'll do because I can get webcams for cheap. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm just gonna have to do that. Unfortunately, it's repairable. Yeah, maybe. I don't know where I could go to repair it. This was a nice hangout. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to conclude, or to drive it home, we don't have to conclude because I got all the time in the world. This Saturday night. So I have these roles: the family man, community activist, lifelong learner, and leisure person. I don't know. I gotta figure out a better name for that. uh, and based off of those, I'm gonna make my goals, which are yeah, probably is my longest. uh, which is like provide for my family. Um, uh, yeah, and be more involved in my community activism. Learn more. It's very general, but that's what I want to do. So, like, as I plan out my schedule, and I'm gonna have all these tasks, I'm gonna prioritize what I want to do. and it's going to be based off of these roles. And I think that's how I do my New Year's resolution. I don't necessarily do an explicit goal. I'm more like, well, I'm gonna do stuff, but does it align with my values, like, or what I find that's valuable or like meaningful. And if it does, great. But if it doesn't, okay, then it goes to the sidelines. Good night. Good night, Jeremy. I think that there was a longer one when you had someone. Oh yeah, the debate where we were debating about jealousy, and I was like, yeah, no, see, I was saying anger is useful, but I think jealousy is not useful at all. And I think jealousy is something you can get rid of, and there's just no positive attribute to jealousy. But the person that I was debating with disagreed with that, so we were having a long one, and, which is fine. But I think like at the last hour, people were just like, it was just us two. It was just us two, and like nobody was online, which is that's cool. But I think I ended it like we're gonna have to agree to disagree, man, because it's like we're the only ones talking. Like there's nobody watching us. We're not going it. We're just going in circles. That's why I was kind of afraid of the braiding sweetgrass, like having it as a live stream, because I think like after a while it'll just be you and me, and Nadia, just Neil and Nadia talking, and like nobody will be watching. At that point, it's like, why don't we just like have just a FaceTime or something? And of course, like that's why I prefer to do that. It just me making a video about it, and people can just chat, and then I can debate or talk with them in the chat. Okay, I think there was a longer one. Yeah, I can't remember the logic. My resolution looks similar. Cool. Learner section is a bit different in leisure, but I have those. But I didn't really develop that. I need to develop this a little bit more. I mean, of course, play game. I'm a gamer. Board games too. I'm a gamer. And then hang out. Hang out with buds. And that includes this time. That's important too. Go out places. And then vegan philosopher. Cool. My resolution backfired this year. Oh shit. Committed to certain things while I needed to focus on more pressing matters. Okay. Well, I hope it doesn't backfire again. What did being a vegan backfire? I'm a vegan. No, I try. My wife is a vegan. I consider myself a freegan, like meaning I don't spend money on meat products or animal products. But if somebody offers me some animal products for free as a gift or something, or if I find something on the ground or something, like a leather jacket on the ground or some shit, or or somebody gives me like leather, I'll take that. But I'm just playing. I'm sure, like if that wasn't the issue, I'm just playing. I'll just play it. Cool. Yeah, no, I'm proud of being a vegan too. That's great. I get what you're saying, but I think it could still be a useful way to talk about the book, because I'm sure other people would still have many questions regardless if they read it. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's, I will definitely make a video on the book for sure. For sure. So a video will be out by me about the book. Absolutely. But a live one, I don't know. Okay, so I guess it's time to clock out. I think so. I got like a foundation here on the computer screen and also on my notebook, which you can't see because my other camera passed out. And I'll just make my own little resolutions um, on my own time, and that'll be cool. Uh, but if anybody else has anything to say, oh, Philosophy Master, you're still here. Problem with Hegel's books in English are bad translation. They are awful. He has term invokes, which means the spirit. Well, I would push back. And I would say, like, the problem, and so the English translations, they're, um, many of them are bad. Some are fine. Some are cool. The problem is Hegel is a bad writer. Like, Hegel has good ideas. He's just a bad writer. And like, German people, I've not only have I, watched interviews of German people who have, interacted with the original German text of Hegel, who say like, yeah, this guy just doesn't know how to write. Like he's just bad. He should have taken like creative writing skills. Like his German is bad. Like his writing skills are bad. But he has really good ideas. Like even the original German is bad. And also like I know people who are from Germany uh, who have come here and live in America now, and German is their first language, and they're philosophy students, and they've read the original Hegel, and they tell me like, yeah, no, his German is just his writing skills are not that good, but his ideas are bad. So the original German is like not the best in terms of like understandability. So it's hard to translate something when you're already working from something that's like not written all that well. The ideas are excellent. The concepts are good. It's just his communication skills aren't the best. Even in the original German, that's what I've been told by like actual German speakers. Hegel is part of his, he's at fault too for that. You would think like otherwise by now you probably would have like a really good English translation, right? By now, if the German was like excellent, but we don't. Uh, but all that to say, I've read some translations of English from Hegel that are they're cool. They're not. I was able to understand. It took a while because he's complicated. Problem with Hegel's, and then in Europe where we like German philosophy, especially we go with the idea that with Hegel and Marx came the absolute knowing of philosophy and its subjects. Well, I would encourage you to. I would encourage you to like branch out of that, you know, and maybe like consider philosophers outside of Europe and like because there's great. We were just talking. The book that I'm reading now, I would check this book out. Check it out. It's a philosophical book, and it focuses on indigenous philosophers, indigenous American philosophers, which have not received any respect, have been like forcibly erased, have been completely ignored, right? But they had some really good ideas, a lot of good political ideas too. A lot of really constructive and awesome political philosophy comes from like philosophers outside of Europe and before Hegel was even alive, right? And just now we're starting, authors like the one I showed you are doing the research and like we're starting to understand this because Manifest Destiny and like European colonialism, like and the erasure of like indigenous and non-white cultures forcibly, like they have like stunted our ideas of our conception of ideas throughout human history. We think like, oh, there was like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, and then there was Hegel and Marx, and then that's all philosophy. Like, no, there's like so much more than that, right? And there's actually a lot, honestly, some even better ideas out there. But so I would encourage you to kind of break out of that. But that's just me. Do Food Not Bombs Memphis use Signal to message as well? We used to use Signal. We used to use Signal. We don't really do it anymore because we're like, hey, we don't got nothing to hide. We used to, yeah. We use Discord. I know that Signal is like it's protected, like you can keep shit private. You can't. It's hard to compromise Signal. Discord is like somebody can a hacker could just come in and like see everything you write. But we're under the impression it's like, look, we're not doing anything illegal. We're just feeding hungry people. We're like giving out free clothes, and if that's illegal, then hey, whatever. Like then we'll see you in court. We come at the approach like we don't have nothing to hide. So yeah, we don't really like do covert messaging and stuff like that. We do have a Signal chat though, in case like we need to protect somebody's identity or something like that, because I know like sometimes people are like at risk, and people activists need to keep their identities or like what they're doing. We respect that, and so we use Signal very sparingly though. He had a lot of ideas, and you have Kant, all these philosophers. He was key to epistemology. The first to start the concept of the state law. Well, I mean, Hegel was definitely not the first to start the concept of state law. Except, I mean, even like if you read like Aristotle's Politics, right? Or like, I mean, the Greek philosophers, Plato wrote the Republic. That's about the state, right? So, but even before, I mean, you look at like Chinese philosophers like Confucius. They talk about the state, and state law. Like Hegel was definitely not the first to do that. But yeah. Karl Marx did not take him by accident. He even made the book Philosopher Right, the critique. Yeah, no, Karl Marx definitely vibed with Hegel. Karl Marx saw something in Hegel, which is true. Like Hegel's dialectics is very, it's quite profound. Dialectics is not something that's unique to Hegel, right? But his flavor of it was pretty profound, and Karl Marx vibed with that, and he applied it to like social economics in a pretty cool way, interesting and like useful way, and used it to critique capitalism, which was Karl Marx did that very good. Marx. He's a very good political philosopher. Absolutely, for sure. And his application of Hegel is great. Is great. David Graeber's There Was a West. There never was a West. Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Western civilization, is that even a thing? I mean, it is, but is it that great? No, I'm definitely going to read it, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it, considering it could be your favorite book. Yeah, it'll be. I have to watch out because I can easily make it like a 5-hour video, which I'm definitely not going to do. So I'm going to have to pick and choose parts. Because it's one of those books, like every other page is like got some profound thing to say. It's great. Questions the academic fantasy that the West somehow is singular and consistent. founding civilization evolving from some relatively primitive awakening of social and political. Right, right, right. In Europe, we have universities in it. Then, when it comes to philosophy, and the key to read the same goes for philosophy as to even we made them in full. Yeah, the translation isn't the best there. Philosophy master, which yeah, that's not your fault. I guess that's Google. In Europe, we have universities, and it then when it came to yeah, I guess theoretically, I mean, even that's kind of like because there's the whole idea is like the Greeks were the first one to develop the concept of the university with the with was it Plato uh, or Aristotle. I think Aristotle was like he created his school, which was kind of the first university. But I mean, there was certainly like institutions of learning before the Greeks developed their symposium or whatever it was. I mean that was there definitely was like institutions of learning before that. Also, like the university isn't really the best way to for educate. Like, isn't it, we talk about the university as if it's like the perfect educational model, and the university as an institution has like so many flaws, right? Like it has so many like things about it that are actually counter to learning and education. Like it's reliance to funding and shit and like money and and capital. Like the university basically is a commodification of education. That's what a university is, and it's also like makes education elite, elitist, which is not like you know conducive to learning. Right? Exclusivity is like bad for education, but so I mean, there's all types of holes in that kind of thinking. Beautiful books, hardcover books, and we have them at the. I mean, again, like, like that, fetishizing books, and like, these books are so beautiful. It's like, as I love books, but that's not the only way wisdom is passed down. It's not the most effective way. I mean, books are great, but that whole thing about like I have these beautiful tomes and they're so lovely and amazingly beautiful. Is like, what about like people? There are many cultures that would just pass down their wisdom through like the stories. They would just tell it to them, which is just as legitimate of a way to do it. You might say like, well, they were the if you write it down, you can guarantee it gets passed down. Not necessarily, right? Like a lot of shit gets lost. Like Hegel, for instance, when people are translating that, or like a perfect example would be the Bible, which has been like translated and just so many editions. Like it's so different in its many iterations. Like just because you write something down doesn't necessarily mean it's maintained and like it's not like what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's not like it's saved in its original form. It's whatever word that is. Like so yeah. We need to uplift indigenous philosophy. Yeah, we do. We need to like just learn about it. We need to so uplift it. Yeah, we just need to like acknowledge that it exists. Like and like there's so much of it that we don't even like learn. Like you take philosophy in college and you don't learn any indigenous philosophy, which is like actually horrible for philosophy, right? Because you're only learning like this very limited viewpoint of what philosophy is. But yeah, that's true. Well, also about how many Western philosophers got their ideas from indigenous view. That's another thing. Like, I was just talking about that. Like a lot of Hegel's ideas are are actually like they're not unique. Like, a lot of like East Indian, I'm talking about like India from Asia, like dialectics, like the back and forth of exchange, like that type of thing is, knowledge being, progressed through like this reciprocal exchange of information, not just this one way flow. I mean, that's definitely not original to Hegel at all. I like a lot of his ideas of like the idea of the notion of like uh, civilization heading toward this ultimate thing, whatever that is. Again, like that's not original. Like, that's like old ass shit that's been around like before Europe was even like a thing. Before like, but yeah, we don't. But yeah, no, it's true. Turtle Eye, yeah, like, and a lot of like Western philosophers just flat out just copied a lot of, but Nadia knows this. But a lot of people who are in ivory towers in universities, they try to, they might not acknowledge that. You know, they don't get it. So, what is the West? Reading Death Capital about after these two books will give you a full meaning of the spirit manifestation because in Hegel's it is still locked. Well, I've read all of Capital. I've check out my videos about it. Marx goes. He just takes Hegel and he kind of runs with it. He kind of like he creates his own thing. He kind of starts with Hegel, but then he quickly like starts doing his own thing. That quickly kind of goes away from Hegel, which is that's good. That's what you should kind of like take the good things about something and kind of start developing your own system, your own thing, and that's a good thing to do. But if you read Marx, will you get like profound insight about Hegel's philosophy? Not really, to be honest. In my opinion. Written word is actually more impressive than oral histories because contextualization as they get passed down. Written word is concrete and immutable. It's true. I've been spending several years now learning indigenous philosophy. I find it hard to read philosophy by white men. Well, but you already know, yeah. Braiding sweet. I mean, you better jump on that because braiding sweet glass. That's what it's all about. Indigenous philosophy. But he made in German history. I've already read Raising. Oh, you've read it already. Oh, cool. I thought you owned it but haven't read it. Oh, cool. Oh, that's why you wanted to do a live stream because, like, dude, I've already read it. We could just talk about it. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it more and more, I'd say I didn't. I didn't. I didn't think of. I didn't realize you read it. But even if because you say you were gonna read it, but you didn't read it. Now I'm thinking about it more and more. If that's the case, maybe our live stream would be good. But I think you're too shy for a face for you to be like a guest on the show. I think you say you wouldn't want that. You would just be like chatting, right? But he made in German history the big moment, looking in the manifestation of the spirit in these stories. does not have the interest in it. No, no, no. Marx and Hegel are in the United States are taken together. I mean, we acknowledge, if people seriously are into Marx, they acknowledge like, oh, they Marx took Hegel's dialectics and like applied it to social economics to critique capitalism. So they acknowledge Hegel. Usually people who read Marx have a little understanding of Hegel. Uh, and then in America, I mean it's not really a significant movement. And it's not just an American movement, but we have like Marxist Leninism here in America. I mean, that's all over the world. Uh, but here in Memphis, there are multiple Marxist Leninist groups, and Marxist Leninism is they take Hegel and Marx like, and they merge them together like all the time. So it's definitely like that happens a lot here in the United States. Even here in like the conservative red South, right? You got these really radical like Marxist Leninist thinkers. So that's the thing that happens here if we are talking about ancient Greek, right? But if we are, the key to it is a dialectic Marx. Just yeah, I don't know. You say Marx just understood Hegel and on his head and finished the philosophy. Like Marx, that's a whole notion. That's like a Marxist Leninist thing, or like the idea like Marx took Hegel's philosophy and like finished finished what he started, or like completed Hegel's thought. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's what happened. I think like Marx took Hegel and like, oh, I could use this to 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 better express what I'm thinking. Right? And that's what I don't think he finished, but that's just me. Yeah. I've already read it. I want to read it. But even Marx has his issues. Let's say Utopia, the state class issues sometimes have reasons to think that Hegel is more real than Marx because he lived the Hegel's philosophy of the right. Hegel wanted to make knowing that you could not have a split spirit without state and law. That the reason he made the book. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marx has other problems too. Like Marx, he believed like inevitably capitalism would fail, and like the working class would rise up, and then that would like inevitably. Marx believed like inevitably socialism would just happen because he thought like capitalism was unsustainable. But that's not true, right? Like capitalism is sustainable, right? I mean, what happens is like, people suffer, like markets crash and shit. People say like, well, capitalism, yeah, markets crash and people suffer, but capitalism bounces because, capitalism offers a lot of like luxury, like a lot, like capitalism offers like, Netflix shows and like Marvel superhero movies and Nintendo Switches and PlayStation 5s and like iPhones and and a lot of the working class like that shit. That's why capitalism doesn't fail because and why it will never capitalism Marx thought like capitalism would inevitably implode upon itself, which it won't, because it just offers this drug to like working class people, like, hey, here's iPhone, shut up and work, or here's like a video game, or here's like Roblox, or here's like fast fashion, or whatever. A lot of just meaningless entertainment, or whatever. Like here's sugar, here's like some Twix bars, and so how capitalism would be defeated is like people need to like understand like what is actually like important in life. It's more of a like it's like a social consciousness needs to happen, awareness, like a rising is rather than just like this automatic like, oh, things will just happen because the economics will just play into, like, that's where Marx was wrong. Like that's what he like really dropped the ball, I think. uh, and then you say Hegel. Oh, yeah, I'm honestly better at writing my thoughts than speaking them. I get a bit nervous. Okay, but I feel like they get, yeah, I mean, you're actually convincing me to do a live. I think what'll happen, we can do a live. What'll happen is we'll be talking in the first hour, and we'll have some engagement, like people will engage, and then maybe by the second hour, you'll have like a little less, but we can do it, and I think maybe by this by like hour, like when it gets to an hour and a half mark, that's what I think what's gonna happen is it's just gonna be you and me just talking, and it's gonna be nobody else talking. I think that's what's gonna happen, but we can try it. But let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. I could be wrong. I just feel like um, you might be overestimating the engagement that's going to happen, but we can give it a shot. We can give it a shot. Uh, we need more black philosophers. Yeah. Yeah, eventually I will. But the problem is, like, see, what happens is I read these, like, books like these, and I have these ideas, and then I read books like this, and it's like, oh shit, this person already wrote exactly what I was gonna write, but just better. Like that happens like all the time. So it's kind of like, you know, and then people tell me like, well, you should just write it anyway. But to me, it's like, yeah, but there's this book that explains what my thought, but like way more better than what I could have done. So like literally is no point in doing it. But I think I still have these ideas. I do think I need to like read a little bit more widely. Uh, yeah, there's some books I still need to read before I could, because I want to make sure like what I said, because ultimately, like, if I have an idea and somebody says, "Can you elaborate?" Right now I could just recommend you a book that's like, well, here's a book that elaborates on my idea way better than I could ever do. So it's like, so they're actually giving my idea better justice than I could. But we'll see. It's kind of like this YouTube channel. I started it because I couldn't find another channel that was like this. That's why I did it. I do still have some ideas in my head that I want to write, and if I can't find a book that's expressed, then I will write it, and I think that might happen. Uh, let's see. Okay, see you later, Nadia. That's what's got everything. And there you go, dead. What's going on? And Hegel did the first without the goal to say that. I see you're like a Hegel stan. You're like a huge Hegel fan. Yeah, philosophy master. Although the upstairs neighbors are having a party and are loud as heck. Oh, okay. So you live in an apartment. I always had the idea that the state will be gone, and this proves that he was a utopist but Hegel is much closer to reality than Marx because we will always have slaves and bondsmen. Yeah, I don't accept reality. If that's where we disagree, where it's like, I think we could do better, but I know there's most people don't. They think humanity can't be better. I think it can. We just need to raise our social consciousness. But I think that's where we differ. Maybe you can attempt it and see how live goes, because these lives always go in so many directions. I'm sure it would spark convo. But maybe you have a specific point of view on these ideas. It's more real. Well, I guess. Hello, Carter. You've been more lives lately. Yeah, because I could just do a live. I could just do any topic, but with a normal video, I actually have to finish a book first. And some of these books are like 400 or 500 pages, right? So they take me a while to read. I'm a slow reader. I don't try and read super fast, so I take my time with books. Some of these philosophy books are huge, So it takes a while to finish the book and then conceptualize a video about it, think about what I want to talk about. Yeah, but I'm always reading for sure. All right, see ya, Nadia. Yeah, maybe we'll do a live. I might just do that. I'll reach out to you later. Karl Marx and Hegel are both big names in philosophy. I appreciate everyone who can write and have taught about the issue. Okay. I think I'm gonna clock out. We went so overtime. Which it's a Saturday night. I'm not doing anything, so it's all good. No problems here, but yeah, I think I will end the Hegel fandom. Number one Hegel fan here, Philosophy Master, which is that's cool. But you like him more than I do. But I've done. But yeah, check out my Hegel videos. I have a lot. But yeah, we were talking about New Year's resolutions with another direction, which is fine. That's what lives do. And no problem. So I just want to thank everybody for hanging out with me this Saturday night for me, and it might be Sunday morning for you. I don't know, depending on your area of the world. But thanks for hanging out. He analyzed history in the law of the state, same spirit in itself. So that's why I have advice to read the German version and give it another goal. He has a history in the law of the state. Yeah, I would just say, well, I'll keep conversing with you. Yeah, I'm just gonna repeat what I said before. I just feel like his analysis is very limited. It's very limited. I feel like not only is he analyzing not only is it just, it's not only Europe. It's just a small section of Europe, right? And he doesn't expand his analysis further, right? And you could say it was back then he didn't have that much information. That's not true. There was trade happening in North Africa, and there was ships going back and forth. There was the Silk Road. You could have included analysis from other countries. I just feel like his analysis was very limited, and I personally don't think you can receive a lot of political philosophy or know-how from his lecture series. I think there are better ways to go. I think you gotta read more widely, and I think those notes the philosophy of history and the history of philosophy, they're good for giving you a good background and foundational understanding of Hegel's thought process. Like if you read like the philosophy of the right, or like genealogy of morals. Oh no, that's my bad. That's Nietzsche. uh, it's genealogy of something. The genealogy is for short, or like the phenomenology, and you're like, I don't know what is this guy talking about. I would encourage you to read like the philosophy of history and the history of philosophy for you, and then it'll give you a better understanding of where he's coming from, or like his point of view, or like his frame of reference. And so when you read his actual books, you'll be like, oh, okay, I see where he's coming from now. But I don't think they're going to give you like, because he wrote a history of philosophy, which is not good in terms of like actually giving you a comprehensive history of philosophy in human civilization. It's like very narrow-minded. He actually misinterprets a lot of things, like the Stoics. He gets all wrong, and other philosophies too. But but you get to understand like what he's thinking about, and then also. The philosophy of history, like again, like he makes statements like Africa has no history, like, which is like stupid. It's just dumb. And you might say like, well, he was a victim, as a man of his time. It's like, no, it's just idiotic to say something like that. Or like, or he like, I think he mentions Asia like one or two sentences in the notes. It's like, Asia is okay, but we're just not going to go there. And it's like, dude, that's an entire like people's history of like, you're just like brushing. I mean, that's just stupid. So I would highly recommend. I personally think you should not be picking up those books to like learn actually about the history of philosophy, or the philosophy of history. Like, they're good to understand Hegel's thought process, and that's about it. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. That was a big success of intellectual. Plato, Aristotle, Hegel, Marx. These are all my. I think we need to be better. But can we be? Yeah, we can. We can be. But the reason why we're you are asking, because you lack. You're not being imaginative. Like what we were saying before. Where's the creativity? Where's the imagination? Where's the innovation? Like, there's no think. We're talking deep philosophical thought here, and you might say like, well, can you expect that from like average people? Yes, I can. But what we need to do is we got to start pushing back against our oppressive systems. That's why, it's important. That's why political philosophy is important. Like you're saying, is like you can have all the knowledge in your word. You can have all the knowledge, but if the society you live in doesn't allow you to apply that, then there's a problem. That's why we have to like push back against these systems of oppression. I mean, that's really where it comes down to. That's what we have to do to open up people's like understanding of what human beings actually can be. But I digress. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye. Oh, Craig Harlow. Oh shit, Craig Harlow. What are you talking about when you say systems of oppression? Man, everybody's popping in today. This is definitely like the most popular stream. System of oppression. Like, I mean, we could get very concrete and say, our healthcare system, right? In the United States, like, people, the most common reason for bankruptcy here in the United States is medical bills. Like, So you have to like earn money to like for healthcare. That's stupid. But I mean that's an oppressive system. We just had there was all over the news. The one of the CEOs of the healthcare insurance company, which that's my healthcare insurance company, United Healthcare, just got assassinated by some guy who probably flipped, right? Probably snapped because he couldn't afford. He got denied some medication, he like had to pay some extreme amount, and he probably like lost his mind, and he just was like, I can't take this anymore. So and that's an oppressive system, right? Uh, or like our criminal justice system. That's an oppressive system. Why? Because it disproportionately targets people of color and poor people and queer people. Like, it's obviously like it's not working in the interests of public safety. It's working in the interests of rich people's property. Right? I mean, that's an oppressive system. Our education system, right? It's elitist, and it's like doesn't foster creativity, imagination, or innovation. Right? It's just like designed to create workers that inevitably will, it's designed to create laborers that will work for corporations. That's the point of that's how our education system today is oppressive. That's how our education system is designed today. Right? There's the concrete examples, and I can go on and on and on. But then there's also like kind of the ideological systems of oppression, like patriarchy, like the gender binary, like the idea, like if you're a man, you're supposed to be dominant, violent, and if you're a woman, you're submissive, subordinate, and there's nothing else. The heteronormativity, and like if you identify outside of that, you're immediately crushed and willed into some submissive, transphobia and shit like that. And then there's capitalism, right? Another oppressive system, like where it's like built on exploitation, right? Yeah, and you can just keep going with that. So yeah, those are the systems of oppression I'm talking about. Are you kind of burnt it all down type? It's hard to envision rehabilitating these enormous institutions that are larger than any person's leadership, but burning it all down causes generations. No, I'm not like burning it all down. I'm not that kind of person. I mean, we talked about this before you came in, right? But I'm part of, for example. I'm part of this activist group. It's called Food Not Bombs. Look it up on the interwebs, on the internet. Food Not Bombs. Food Not Bombs is a movement that started in the early 80s, I think. And it is a movement where what we do is we reclaim food that's going to be thrown out, and then we prepare it and distribute it to people who need food. Right. Like 40% of all food that's produced in this world is just thrown away. Like good food is just thrown away. The reason why it's thrown away is because corporations can't sell it. Right? That's why it's thrown away. Like we have people starving on the streets, or like having food insecurity problems, and we just throw it out. There's this myth that's out like, we have a scarcity problem, like there's an overpopulation problem. We don't have enough resources to like provide food for all living human beings, which is completely bogus and false, right? We have more than enough resources to provide. We don't have an overpopulation problem. It's just we have a resource management problem, but it isn't really a problem, right? It's just the model, the oppressive system of capitalism. Right? Is designed to like get rid of anything that doesn't make profit, even if it costs people's lives, right? So what we do is we go to grocery stores and restaurants and like eateries and farmers markets, and we're like, hey, you gotta throw stuff out, and it's like, yeah, we got a ton of, and then we reclaim it, we feed it, we prepare it, and we go to homeless and houseless people, and also just people who need food, and we give it to them, right? And we need that kind of stuff needs to start happening, stuff like that. Right, that needs to stay. And, I can go on and on about like we don't have to burn everything down. We just have to like start like reevaluating the ways we operate in our society, right? And like start taking steps to like do things that actually make sense. You know what I mean? You know, there's the concept called mutual aid, where we, we help people by identifying the root cause of the problem instead of like charity models, right? Where people just like, this is one direction of like, I'm helping you, but peace out, bye bye. It's like a food drive by a church or something. It's like, here's some food, okay, bye bye, heathen, or whatever. It's like, okay, you gotta ask, like, why is this person in need of food in the first place, right? We gotta think about these things, like, like for example, houselessness or like homelessness, right? Why is that a thing? Like some people would argue like, well, that's just the thing. That's just the nature of society. Like there will always be people that are without homes or without houses. It's like, well, no, actually that's not the case. If you actually really think about it, right? What do we have to do? That's what I'm talking about. That's how we solve these problems. Food Not Bombs, is there a branch in Cleveland? Probably. Food Not Bombs is an anarchist organization, so like there's independent operations that exist all over the globe, right? So most likely there is, but I wouldn't know. You'd have to look it up. Although we do coordinate with each other, so we do interact, but it probably is. Yeah, so I would just like encourage you to like get involved in activist organizations and activist groups. Long story short, and don't. I would argue like, but it seems like you're not that kind of person. I wouldn't like jump on that like burn it all down train, because that, like you say, bloody struggle. In my opinion, I don't think that's the answer, but I do think radical change needs to happen, and like radical ways of thinking that are different from the norm needs to occur. That definitely needs to happen. We do need to reevaluate like things on a radical level. That definitely needs to happen. Yeah. Just do you, man. Yeah. Looking for other local groups interested in the same stuff. Yeah, man. Definitely check it out. Okay, well, I guess I'll get going now. But thanks for hopping on. If you got no other questions or comment, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.